Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Slice of Gaming podcast, episode 75 for November 23rd, 2024. This is our very special Game Awards predictions, nominations episode that I'm very excited to do. It's one I look forward to the most each year. And joining me today is a pretty fun special cast, couple of guests, accepting the award for least podcast appearances, Fusion.
That's just insane when Jack's here and
I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like if you count it up, I think you'd be in the bottom three for this year.
Oh, easly for this year. I'm more of like a partially retired podcaster.
Partially retired? What?
Yeah.
Hell? Well, hey, I mean, you have fun, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you come here. It's like, well, this is a fucking Friday off the. I gotta take this off the excitement.
No, this is a big deal. Geoff Keighley Awards, I'm locked in.
Well, also accepting the award for most podcast appearances is me, Wolf. Second place goes to Bench. Hi, Bench.
I guess I maybe would be second place.
Either
Definitely
you or
our second place. No, Dark's been
group.
slacking
Yeah.
lately.
I
That's
win. Yay, I'm here.
Well, you won second place.
It's better than third or fourth or fifth. Fusion's obviously in fifth.
Okay.
That's fun. Accepting the award for most British member of the Slice of Gaming crew, Jack.
What?
I'm sorry, Bob. You were close. You were number 3.
I'm sorry. Do you want the award? I'll take a different one.
Oi, governor. No, that's all right.
Wow.
That's
actually
so
bad.
insensitive.
I know, that's really disrespectful, actually.
I'm so sorry to all our British viewers, all 7 of you. I did not control that.
One of our viewers and he's here.
And accepting the award for the most insensitive podcaster, Bop.
Yeah, sorry guys. King Charles III was scheduled to be here today, but unfortunately he couldn't make it, so I had to come and take his place.
How do you fill in the spot for all these people that you make up in your head?
Oh, I had someone completely differently until about 5 seconds ago.
Well, we got a very fun podcast. Like I said, we got the Keighley nominations, but also some pretty interesting news across the gaming sphere, all things considered, including an award show that happens in November. So we want to go over that as well. But I think we're ready to just jump into it. If you want to find us, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, every single podcast channel. You will find us. Like the podcast, any type of support helps, and follow us on Twitter at A Slice of Gaming. But let's just get into it. Game Awards nominations. The nominations came in on Monday. Geoff Keighley streamed the whole thing. Now, I will say something. Me and Beef did our predictions for the nominations last week, and we did them a couple hours before a major bombshell was announced. So our predictions were we were kind of close, but it was something, Fusion, you reminded us. Me and who else? Bench were the only ones who didn't get 4 out of the 6 nominations, and you aired it out.
I mean, I was just asked and I put it out there. Like someone asked me what was up there, and I guess you two happened to be the two.
It just feels a little disrespectful. I don't know. That's all.
It was actually revenge for all my Open Critic games I played. So,
but yeah, it seems like most of the nominations, 3 of the nominations, everyone's like, okay, yeah, obviously for Game of the Year. The other 3 have some questions around them, some dumb questions, and then some actual like legitimate, like, okay, what the fuck's going on here? But even before we even get into Game of the Year, all these like different categories that I want to discuss, I mean, how are you guys feeling about this year's Game Awards in general? The kind of discussions around everything. Fusion, I'll start with you.
I'm excited. I'm always excited for TGA because, like I've said in the past, this feels like what E3 used to feel like. Because we know at this point it is less about the awards and more about like what game reveals we're gonna get. So like from a reveal perspective, I'm super excited for all of that. From awards, I'm not gonna go into like specific each award, but like I just wish we were at this point where Geoff would add more categories. Like I think we've been doing this for a decade now. I feel like a decade show would have been the perfect example to be like, okay, it's been 10 years. Let's implement these new categories like best remake or best early access. When like you have other award shows that are putting these categories out there, and people like to see them at these other shows. So like, I'm just always so shocked by Geoff. The categories don't ever improve. Like, even I know Kind of Funny's been talking about it all week. How they're talking about like action adventure versus action. Like, even that category to this day just like doesn't make a lot of sense when the games that get nominated could be like in both. So I wish there was more category cleanup. But from like an excitement, I want to watch. Like, I'm always excited to get to watch the Game Awards.
Yeah, the categories in general is something I do want to discuss and kind of my issues with how they're framed, but I still want to go around the horn before we get into that. Jack, how about you?
I don't really care what Keighley gives the awards to, but I do like the orchestra a lot. So that's pretty much the only reason I ever care what's nominated for Game of the Year.
Honestly, that's the realest thing I've ever heard out of anyone today.
Honestly.
Just like, I don't care. It's fine. How about you, Bench?
I mean, I'm excited for the Game Awards, mostly because I'm making the trip to LA to be there in person. So, I mean, I'm sure that's going to
Correspondent on site.
be a fun experience to go
Storm
like
the
see the awards
stage.
happen. Like, I'm mainly excited for the reveals, obviously, because I do think a lot of things show up this year, and I think it's one of the better years for reveals. So, like, the hype is high on that. But I mean, I definitely think there's the argument to make about the categories, because I think there's specifically one game that is in a lot of categories that shouldn't be there that we will discuss later.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely discuss that. All right, Bob, my sweet summer child. Go
Mute
ahead.
him.
Yeah, I was like, is he gonna save me for last? Okay.
I save you for last because you're the one who talks the most.
Well, no. I just meant because I'm legitimately debating, do I want to do the rant now or save it for later? I'll keep it brief. I am the biggest known hater of the of the Game Awards and how Geoff Keighley runs it. I respect him for getting his bag, but I think it's just very frustrating how he treats easily the most legitimate award shows and treats it as an advertisement and doesn't like put enough like thought and consideration into it. And I think the controversy this year has been noticeable in other years, but it keeps going not as well noticed because it's in smaller categories. And now we've come to the Game of the Year, and he's kind of reaping what he's sowing by not paying attention to the categories and the awards part of his show and more about the advertisements. And so I'm just here for chaos.
I'll say this. I just don't think any of this matters.
No,
I'm
it
kind of on the
doesn't.
side of Jack, where I just don't really have the energy to feel. I mean, you say legitimacy. Here's the thing, Bob. I don't think any of these award shows are legitimate. I don't think there's really anything like special about any Game of the Year show. I think these are the Game Awards, and they're the most popular because they have reveals and things that people actually tune in to watch. But for the actual awards themselves, like obviously people aren't going to be like front and center. That's not the reason why it's popular. And maybe you can make an argument that it's like, oh, it's more about the advertisements and the awards. And it's like, yeah, it's always been. And if anything, like most of the gaming industry is very consumeristic, and it's a consumer industry. Most of it is ads. We talk about how much we miss E3. E3 was just advertisements. And it's like advertisements I love, but like they're just ads. I just feel like there's definitely things I want to criticize about the Game Awards, and I think there's things to be improved upon. But it's so hard for me, especially like with how people were lately about this year's Game Awards nominations, to really, for lack of a better word, give a shit, because it's just like most of this doesn't really matter. There's several other Game Awards shows, especially the Soggies. Tune in December 26th for those, that I think maybe they're more legitimate, maybe they're less legitimate. It's really your decision. It's your prerogative. The most important Game of the Year award is for yourself and what you think is the best game that came out that year. And I think I would like there to be better rules, better like stipulations, obviously in regards to certain categories. But in general, I just kind of feel like we put so much effort into hating every aspect of the Game Awards. And it's like, well, there's also a lot of good things, like people like the Balatro dev getting really excited about all the nominations he got, especially for Game of the Year. And I think just in general, it's a fun time for everyone to just kind of get together as an industry and watch a fun award show, even if it is severely mismanaged. But a lot of things that we love watching are mismanaged. I mean, we watch sports. Everyone can tell like there are definite issues with how NFL, NBA, FIFA that run their like organizations, and obviously that's completely different. Like ball of wax, I get it, but I just think like to me, I have fun watching them because they're just dumb award shows that really don't matter at the end of the day. But I guess we can get right into the actual show itself. The nominations, a lot of nominations for a lot of different categories. Now, like last year, I have a list of all the nominations and our names, and everyone we're gonna predict what will win each award. And I will say, I immediately got rid of the esports categories and content creator of the year. Any thoughts on those, you guys?
Give
Shout
it
out
to Queso.
Queso. Yep.
They say shout
I
out
was-
Queso. Hopefully Queso wins.
Beef specifically requested that I complain that Slice of Gaming wasn't nominated for Content Creator of the Year, so I just wanted to throw that in there.
We got another 2 decades until we
Actually,
get on that list.
I have a legitimate question about content creator of the year.
Who are these people?
Well, I mean that's always the question, but also how is Kai Cenat not like nominated? Like that dude broke Twitch records. He's got like every celebrity on earth like making content with him, and he plays video games. Like that one, I was like genuinely like, how did he not get nominated?
I
The
think
only thought I have, like, on why, and I think it's kind of weird, but like kind of a dumb reason, but it's a reason. I think it's because he's not specifically listed as a gaming streamer. He's more of a variety streamer, but even then, I don't know.
But yeah, even
I
then,
think-
like he pulled like the Elden Ring numbers. Like he does video game stuff. I think that's like the insane part. But yeah,
I
Bench,
think
go ahead.
it's because they don't want him to show up.
Well, I
That'd be
I don't think the content creators ever show up.
Oh no, there's a couple years they did.
No, there's a couple. I
Boogie was
think.
there.
Queso will not show up. I'll tell you that.
I think.
Yeah,
He ain't
like-
leaving his room.
I think Kai would just make a video, honestly.
Yeah, I just think that I don't know because I think there's part of it like he could. I think he could have had the best votes. They just like didn't put him on or something. Because like yeah, it's just kind of weird that he wasn't voted on because he's such an entertainer and he did do a lot of gaming stuff this year.
Yeah,
Do you
I don't
think-
know. Like I don't have that much investment. It's just like you look objectively, and it's like, yeah, I mean, he's the content creator of the year. I don't know how you argue against that.
Yeah. Either way, Jeff's gonna go content creator of the year, Queso, and Queso's just gonna sit at his room and go like, "Oh, thanks, guys. It's pretty cool."
Yeah, it's funny because I'm kind of the other, and I'll probably get hate for it. I'm of the thing where it's like I'm kind of happy Kai didn't get nominated because for one, yes, he has played some games, like we saw mainly the Souls games, and it brings in a lot of viewership. But at the end of the day, he is a in-person streamer. 99% of his content is him doing some in-person thing with guests and everything else. And I just feel like those vibes don't fit the Game Awards. I wish they would change it to maybe like Gamer of the Year or something more specific because everyone there genuinely just plays video games. Every single, and I think that's not even, again, Geoff didn't nominate these people. So I think that's more of the industry and the journalist people just maybe looking at Twitch, looking at the game section and seeing who's always on the top. And like that would be Queso and the other people I don't know. But like, always playing video games. Queso's never done another. Well, he's done a few like live streams where it's not games, but that's because like the games are down or something. But like for the most part, these other people are all strictly video games. They're showing up every day and playing video games. I feel like that makes more sense for the Game Awards compared to we have the streamies that are gonna happen, and like Kai's gonna win Content Creator of the Year over there. Like he's up there for a nomination because that makes more sense. That's just streams in general compared to the Game Awards. Feels like more of gaming streams in general.
I mean, we have a category about best adaptation that isn't even about a video game. But I digress. You definitely have a point, Fusion.
God.
It's just I don't know. I just when you say content creator of the year, I just feel like I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
I think the wording could be better. I think it could be like Gamer of the Year or
because
like
it used to be
something of that.
trending gamer of the year, and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
okay, that actually makes more sense than what they changed
Man,
it to.
Greg was lucky to get that award back in 2015 because there would be no way he'd get nominated nowadays with all these weird ass names.
100%.
I will say, but Fusion, you reminded me. Jeff doesn't vote, and he loves to remind people he doesn't vote.
Yeah.
Even at the nomination video, it's like selected by our jury, which I'm not a member of. It's like, okay, Jeff, we
Because
get
to
it.
be
You
fair,
didn't vote.
there's still a lot of people, especially on Twitter, who just like think Geoff picks every game. Like they genuinely think like Geoff shows up and he's like, these are the games and these are what you have to pick, and like that's just not how it works. So
As much as I want to criticize Geoff, I like that part has no merit. Like it's not. He doesn't control really any of that.
But getting into the actual predictions, now, I will ask: do you guys want to put some stakes on the line of like what winner gets, what loser gets? I thought about winner. What if the winner gets to decide what they get to be introed as and referred to as for like 3 podcasts?
At the
3?
Soggies.
Yeah, 3.
What if we just do at the Soggies?
At the
Okay.
Soggies? I mean, sure. But like a title. They just like, oh, my lord, good sir, something like that.
Yeah.
Like if Bop wins, we have to call him my lord.
My liege.
My liege. Yeah. His decision. Now, what does the loser get? I haven't thought about that as much.
Play a bad game?
It'd have to be a short bad game.
Yeah.
Or maybe a game that's specifically tailored to make the person hate it. Like, if you made me play a Life is Strange game, I'd actually lose it.
I feel like we could. I was just gonna play like something around the Game Awards, but all those games are good. So, like,
But also like the stakes for the winner is not that high, so why should the loser
Yeah,
stakes be
true.
so much worse?
honestly, I feel like there should only be a stake for the loser.
A stake for the loser? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I have to play Hades.
Why is that a
How
bad-
about
I
you
have to
do the
play Elden Ring. That's my negative.
Yeah.
what if you did the opposite of what the winner gets? You did everyone else gets to choose what their title is for the next however many
Ooh,
episodes.
or-
I like that.
Yeah, we could do that, or the winner specifically chooses what the loser has to play.
Okay. I'd be down
Okay.
for that.
Either one of those, I'm fine with. I like that idea.
I mean, we'll put it to a vote. I like the second idea, Bop's more.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, we're good with that? All right.
Within reason.
Yeah. No one's gonna make me play fucking I don't know some like Visions of Mana or something.
I'm making you play Gone Home, buddy. Good luck.
hey, I'll take it. That's an hour-long game. I'll take it. All right, but let's get into it. Most anticipated game. Now, I will say, everyone always makes fun of this category. It's like, it's just an ad. The whole show is an ad. Like, let's not sit here and like act like we're gonna act above. But the nominees are Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds. I wonder what's winning. I already got my vote. It's Grand Theft Auto 6.
Same.
Yeah,
GTA as well.
I don't want to lose, so I'm gonna put GTA 6.
What would
because
you guys
this is
personally
a
choose?
fully fan vote, so like
Yes.
there's no way GTA loses.
Do you guys have a personal pick that's not GTA?
Yota.
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah.
Death
Death Stranding.
Probably Yotei.
Hmm.
I don't know. GTA 6. I don't know why the fuck I'd not pick GTA 6. Still. That
Yeah,
game's
mine
gonna
is still
rule.
GTA 6. Okay, I got so excited. It isn't. Do you guys think this is the right selection? I think this is pretty much as good as you can get, honestly. I'm
Yeah,
honestly surprised. Metroid Prime 4 kind of surprised me, but
Like
hey,
the only
that's
thing is, like, we could have a new 3D Mario next year, but obviously, that's not going to be on the list.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
I think you could switch Prime with a different Nintendo rumored property for like launch, but
They have to go with
otherwise,
announced. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, best adaptation. This is the one that Bop was. Here's the thing. I get what you mean, Bop. I don't really think it's that big of a deal.
No, I
think
don't
it's
either.
fine.
I should clarify. It's not that I necessarily care or not. It's just like it's clear there are other categories not centered around gaming, so it's like it's not like the main focus. So it's like I don't know. It doesn't necessarily need to apply to every category.
I'm gonna ask a really dumb question.
Yeah.
Which game here is not a game? Like obviously Knuckles itself isn't a game, but like
They're
isn't
all
Knuckles in the
movies and
game?
TV shows. They're not video games.
Oh, I thought you said there was something in this category that wasn't based on the game.
No,
he was
I'm
saying
just
there's other categories not based off games.
right. There's
They're
another. There's like
what
content
other?
creator shouldn't have to be based on someone who plays video games when there's other categories that are also not like video game. They're TV shows.
Yeah, but it's
About
like
video games.
one another. Yeah.
Right. And you
They're
still
still
have streamers
rooted.
playing video games. Like it's not like like the fact that they only whatever. I'm just saying it's not all 100% about video games with the Game Awards. There are movies and TV shows involved as well.
Oh yeah, we know that. I just think I don't know. Like, what was the year they had like Green Day, and then it was just like
Yeah.
for Beat Saber. It's like okay, that's like the loosest connection you guys could have made. Anyways, best adaptation. The nominees are Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, and then Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft. I will say Knuckles and Like a Dragon were definitely ones where it's like we needed to fill out 5.
Yeah,
There wasn't a lot because people hated Knuckles. I will say, I actually kind of I think it's pretty much between Arcane and Fallout. I struggle to
Yeah,
think
me
what
too.
would win.
Fallout.
I'm gonna go Fallout.
It was
Okay,
so
Bench and
good.
Joke. Well, now what do you think wins though?
I still think it wins. I think its quality matches up with the votes.
Yeah, I would love Arcane to win. I'm watching it right now and it's fantastic, but I don't think it's going to win for 2 reasons. One, it already won once. So I think voters are going to be like, oh, Fallout's this is their first shot, give it to them. And Fallout also has been around for longer, and Arcane's not even fully out to the public yet. So I think at this point,
Mhm.
it's going to go to Fallout just by default, which is like, I heard that show's awesome. So like, I'm not mad at it, but like, I'd love if Arcane won again.
Oh, Fusion, you haven't watched Fallout?
No, I haven't.
Pretty good.
Most I know about it is the Philly thing with Dark and how he thought it.
Oh my
took control of
God,
the
dude,
game.
God. Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Dude, that was the perfect definition of like the friend who does not want to admit they're wrong.
Yep.
But yeah, I
Bob.
think it'll go to Fallout.
Bob, what about you?
Yeah, I gotta go the opposite, thinking I want it to be Fallout, but like the fact that Arcane got nominated, and I think during the nomination process the show wasn't even out yet. And yeah, people are like, oh, but people saw previews. It's like not enough to like get nominated. I mean, I think this show just carries such a reputation. It already did win, and I just don't buy into. I mean, clearly with Elden Ring, it's like I don't buy into like, oh, you won before, people aren't going to vote for it again. I do think Fallout probably deserves it, but I think Arcane is going to take it.
Knuckles might sneak it in. I'll say that. I'll say the controversial thing. No, I think it's probably Fallout. I think what you were saying, Bob, is 100% true, but I think there will be enough cachet of... Because I think a lot of people unfairly put live action over animation, and they're like, well, Fallout was live action. And like, it's stupid. I think it's stupid to think that way. But also, I think that there maybe those are the type of people at the what was it? The Hollywood Reporter votes on the Game Awards. God bless them. And maybe that's why they would vote for Fallout, and they're just more interested in it. Probably more people watched Fallout. I don't know. I think Arcane does have a lot of
League of Legends has a lot of players.
Now I'm a little scared because there's so many countries from like that are in the panel here, and I feel like League of Legends would be way bigger.
Now you can change your answer.
Fallout. No, I'm gonna stick with Fallout. I think Fallout was good enough as a show itself to win. If it was a situation where Fallout was just like meh or average, I'd go Arcane, even with all my reasons of it being later. But like, I think because Fallout was still high quality enough, it has the reputation and it has the actual quality to win the award.
You ever get mad that League of Legends is popular?
Yes.
It's like that's the game. Like that's
I'm
the
glad.
game you guys like.
Yeah, I'm glad we aren't on that train.
All right, next category, best multiplayer. This is just for multiplayer video game experiences. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40. How Jeff said it, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, and that pissed me off so much. I don't know why. I'm gonna just say it. I think it's Helldivers 2 with a bullet, and I think it just comes down to like it was the biggest launch this year, arguably, and maybe Call of Duty, obviously, but like the biggest surprise launch. People were just shocked by how good it was and how much of a splash it made. And I think the critics have a bit of a cachet for it.
I think it's Black Ops.
Because you played Black Ops, right?
I played
Uh-oh.
both.
I know.
I think right when Call of Duty people were getting into it and realizing, oh shit, this is really, really good, I think is when they were casting votes.
Yeah, but I feel like recency bias doesn't really exist at the Game Awards. I feel like we always say it does, but I don't think it does. Because if
Yeah,
you
I
look
would
at Game of the Year winners, it's like most of them came out in the first half of the year.
But I mean, I also think Helldivers 2 just hasn't had that extra push in the second half of the year for that a multiplayer game needs.
They recently had a major update and they still get like 20 to 40k concurrence.
I still think it's COD.
See, I can give Bench every single piece of evidence and he'll go like, well, I'm right.
I think Call of Duty it definitely has the second best chance on the list. So
So wait, you're Helldivers as well, Fusion?
I'm Helldivers, yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm going to go Helldivers as well.
All right.
I think I'm gonna go Helldivers, but the one thing I am like iffy on, which I didn't even think about, but it's like going back to who votes on this. How many like people on the panel are not allowed to even play Helldivers due to the region restrictions?
Oh,
like
well, no,
I'm not even trying to be controversial. Genuine question.
That didn't go through though. That's the thing.
What do you mean?
You don't need to use the PSN accounts.
Yeah, but you still can't buy that game on Steam in those regions that PSN isn't supported.
No, you can buy it on Steam still.
No, in the regions that it's not supported, you cannot. It's the same with all the other Sony games like God of War and.
You don't need. They got rid of the PSN account requirement.
That's not what I'm saying, Wolf.
I know that's not what you're saying, but they say that you can still buy it on Steam, can't you?
Not in the supported. If a country does not support PSN, you cannot buy that game on Steam in that country.
Okay, give me a country that does not support PSN.
Hold on, I'm
I can tell you.
Yeah, I
Philippines.
Know.
That's one I know. Oh, you still need a PSN. Okay, Bob's right.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's how it works.
I mean, even with that, Bob, I don't think.
I know. I don't think that's going to be a reason.
That would be funny though.
But I am genuinely curious if that like is a potential like reason it doesn't win, because I do think it'll win.
You're telling me they did that whole reversal and that's still like, oh, but if you're in the Philippines, fuck you.
Yeah, that's why people were still pissed about it. It's like, oh, you try to save face with it, but now you're just not even letting them, like you're encouraging piracy because you can't even let them download the game now or buy the game.
So stupid. All right. Well, I will say, so far, we seem very agreeable, and then there's just one person who wants to go against the pack. So, best sports/racing. Okay, guys, let's be honest here. We got F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K 25, Top Spin 2K 25, WWE 2K 24. They just wanted to fill out the ballot. This was not one that any of them were that excited about. I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we gonna have the college football discussion? Because that's the thing that pisses me off the most about this fucking category.
There's a lot of international voters.
Yes, but you would think international voters would recognize that, like, the highest rating and best-selling sports game of the year should probably be nominated for sports game of the year instead of F1 24. That change their driving physics to the point that people hate the game.
And you have an American basketball game on here.
Also true.
Well, NBA is a worldwide sport.
They all suck at the sport except for America. So
what are you talking about? Whoa!
America wins the NBA title every single year. So like until a international team wants to win the NBA championship,
because we poach all the good players from the other countries.
Well, the joke there is that actually that's not true. Canada has won an NBA title, so I guess that's.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. If international representation.
International enough.
I'm going EA Sports FC 25.
Yeah, same here.
That's the funny thing. I'm like, what is the difference?
I think it's actually going to be. Isn't this the first year, or was last year the first year they changed from FIFA?
Last year was the first year.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't like it's not F1. I can't imagine it being 2K or NBA 2K. Top Spin just got a lot of marketing, and like WWE, I think could be a dark horse, but
that was my second option was WWE.
Do people like?
I'm gonna guess WWE just for the different opinion.
Okay, so Jack's
WWE. WWE has gotten significantly better the last couple years, so I think it could potentially be.
Is the wrestling worldwide?
Yes. Okay. The WWE sells out every single event they go to when they go international.
Honestly, if that's the case, if we're talking about worldwide, it's like kind of interesting. Baseball's not there because baseball's huge in Japan. But I guess it's
Yeah,
only
I think the show's usually nominated, but I think it took Topspin took that spot that it's normally in.
I thought people hated Topspin.
Yeah, they did, but they had a lot of marketing. And again, hey, going back to how these awards are nominated. But anyway, I digress.
Hey, are you saying F124 doesn't deserve it?
I'm saying college football 2024. Matt Piscatella had a tweet today that next month it'll probably break the record for most like best-selling sports game of all time or something like that. And
That's actually insane.
yeah, it's not nominated.
Kind of funny to see the monopoly two publishers have on this.
Yeah, seriously.
Award, though.
EA,
It's
EA,
2K.
2K, 2K, 2K. Don't you guys think it's weird that EA and 2K effectively own all the sports game
it's a little odd.
franchises? God bless.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Best-selling in US, best-selling sports game in US history.
Yeah,
Now
'cause
that
I would've thought, like,
illustrates
FIFA.
yeah, right. That illustrates the point that it is a very like regional specific game, but like it got an 83 on Metacritic for a sports game. That's so fucking good.
Didn't
but Jason-
FC24 get a high review as well though?
FC24?
Yeah, listen,
Oh.
EA Sports FC. I am not. That's not the game I'm dogging here. I'm specifically going after F124 because it just has international appeal.
Listen, shot in
Also,
the fucking
FC got a
dark.
76.
WWE 2K24, because I don't know.
I think it has a chance. I legitimately think it has a chance.
No, I'm with you. I think it's like I
That
feel
got
like
that got an 80 on OpenCritic.
I always think it has a bigger chance because Greg Miller won't ever shut up about it.
He's all
Ben,
the
you're the
votes.
only one who hasn't said it.
Oh, I thought NBA. I thought they said that.
Oh, did you say? Okay. NBA 2K. Isn't it getting worse and worse every year for 2K?
Pretty
No,
much.
apparently this year was really good. That's why.
I got the Jason Tatum on the cover, so I get it.
Gross.
Whoa, what gross? What the fuck, Bob?
Put Paolo on there. He deserves
Oh
it.
my god. Still injured, by the way. Best
Yeah, I
sim/strategy. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay. Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Konitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord. I'm going to say it's Unicorn Overlord because every time this is brought up on a stream, every person in chat's like, Unicorn Overlord, please!
I agree.
For good reason. It's a good game. And Bench says Unicorn Overlord as well. What about you guys?
I have no idea, so I'm just going to pick Manor
Yeah.
Lords because I think it's big.
Yeah, Manor Lords had a really big pop-off earlier in the year, I think.
Its launch was very high received.
I'm completely guessing. I'll go with that.
Kinetsugami is such a weird one here. Like that's the bottom of the barrel pick for this category
Yeah,
because
but
it's
people
like
really were into it, though.
oh, trust me, I played the game. I think it's a very good like gameplay loop, and it is a good strategy game. It's just weird. Like I don't know. I don't like this is not the category I think it would have been nominated for. If I had to guess. But that being said, Frostpunk 2 has been getting insanely good reviews. So I'm gonna go that way.
That's also my pick.
Okay, so Fusion and Bopper, Frostpunk 2. Do you guys worry that like maybe it's too niche to win? No, I mean, this is a niche category.
I feel like every game in this category.
Frostpunk 2 has pedigree though. Like that already is an established franchise. You already have fans of that genre, so they're only like getting more outreach. Whereas like no offense, Unicorn Overlord, I think is like some people probably don't even know what the fuck that is. And it's
the highest
Yeah.
rated game on the list. though.
Also,
is,
yeah,
100%.
Vanillaware is like at least like a niche developer, but one like under Atlas. So they
yeah,
have a
and that's
there.
not saying they are not a good developer. I'm just saying as far as like name recognition, I think Frostpunk 2 is probably one of the more recognized ones.
Best family game. I feel like this is a pretty
Woo.
easy category. What's going to win? But though I will say, Fusion, this is exactly what you were saying and what annoys me. Best family? Why is this a category?
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many other categories that make sense than a family game category. Which, by the way, everyone just calls it the Nintendo category every year.
I just
So,
say, yeah, it's literally basically just like best Nintendo. Or like half the time it's 4 out of 5 of them are like platformers. Like, just change it to the best platformer. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
or
I don't know
something.
why they're so weird about it.
You know what my favorite like nomination for best family game was? It Takes Two, a game about divorce. Like, yeah, let's play that
I
with
mean-
the kid and teach about why mom and dad aren't together anymore. Like, what are you talking about?
But it's bright and colorful, so that means it equates to being family.
Like, that's such an insane nomination for best family game. But
Nominations for this year are Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Squire. I think it's Astrobot with a bullet because it's nominated for Game of the Year. That's why.
Can I say how weird Echoes of Wisdom feels on this list?
yes,
Is it a family game?
Like, do you think it's a family game? I don't know.
No. It's a family game in the sense that I guess you could play it with your kids.
That's the
looks
thing. Is that's
cute.
Astrobot
Is that-
to me.
that's
Astrobot's
the
not a
criteria.
family game.
It's
don't think
why
that-
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. None of us think like
yeah.
the only real family game here,
It's Super
arguably,
Mario
is
Party.
Mario Party.
Which is
That's
why I'm leaning towards that one.
Fusion, you gotta remember when it comes to voting at Game Awards, never like think, oh, this one makes more sense for what the
No, I feel like
category
I'm
is.
overthinking the category.
It is never about the categories.
It's what game's the best?
I was just saying, I feel like I'm overthinking what the category is because it would be Mario. Like my first
should-
thought, like
yes.
it should be Mario Party.
Mario
but the
Party
best
would
game
be the
easily
answer.
here is Astrobot, so I guess I go with
Especially-
Astrobot.
Especially because this year it's actually a good Mario Party.
Yeah.
So Fusion going Astrobot as well. Jack and Bob, what about
I'll
you?
go Astro.
Yeah, I don't want to lose, so I'm going Astrobot.
Yeah, it's just it's one of those things where it's like if it was nominated for GOTY, it's probably gonna win this category. Alrighty, best fighting game I think is next. Yep, best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Multiverses,
Insane.
My
and
pick.
Tekken 8. Dude, Multiverses, that's a crazy fucking pick. They literally unreleased the game and released it
And it came
again to get
back.
nominated.
I know they did this in alphabetical order, but I was genuinely nervous that Tekken 8 was going to not be on the list over, like, underneath stuff like Marvel vs. Capcom and Multiverses.
Yeah, I mean, that collection's awesome, but it's like, it's a collection of games from like the 90s and 2000s. It's like that. Yeah, these games were already awesome. Just have a best remaster / remake category. Wouldn't that
It's not
be
even
so
a
great, Fusion?
It's not even a remaster. It's just here are all of these games again packaged in a different way than
And it's-
before.
And someone's saying, can Multiverses won? Multiverses
Yeah.
won. So I don't understand how it's bad.
They're going for the 2-peat, baby.
So funny.
That's worse than Elden Ring at this point. What are we doing?
Yeah.
It's so funny. They won, and they're like, "We're gonna unrelease so we can win again." I think it's Tekken 8, though.
Yeah, I'm going
I mean,
Tekken 8
Yeah,
as
I
well.
go Tekken 8.
it's
If
by far
Multiverses
the
maybe
most
had like
popular.
a more successful relaunch, like maybe it could have won again, but
Yeah,
the
everyone was
relaunch
upset.
was pretty rough.
No, everyone was like, "Dude, this is worse." What about you,
I
Jack?
could-
and Bob?
I could see Dragon Ball winning, but I really hope Tekken 8 takes it, so I'm just going to try and manifest that.
I
Yeah,
want
that-
some... Sorry. go ahead.
Were you about to point out the sales for Dragon Ball?
Well, no, I mean,
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
And
that-
there's just a lot
that
of Dragon Ball freaks.
I also want to point out that we've almost all so far. We keep saying the same games. We're
Well-
a pretty agreeable bunch.
I mean, I think there's very obvious answers. Like we haven't gotten to a category that
Yeah,
I
I
think has
think-
been
yeah.
very split
we're on
yet.
the easy categories, yeah.
100%. See, okay, so MPD came out for last month. I don't know if that was a topic later.
Oh, is it? Okay, well, send that to me. We're gonna do a game with that later. as usual.
Okay. Then I will abstain since I've already looked at it. The Sparking Zero was number 2 on the MPD list for last month, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? So
That is insane.
I know there again recency bias shouldn't be a thing, but it almost makes and I know Tekken 8 was like beloved, but it's like I don't know, man. Dragon
I-
Ball did sell a lot.
I think it's the difference between like Dragon Ball being like an 81 or 82 on Metacritic and OpenCritic, and then Tekken 8's like almost 90, like an 89, I think.
Yeah, I'm still
Is
gonna
that
go
gonna make a
Tekken, but
difference?
like, oh, I really want to go Dragon Ball.
Okay, so
Just
Tekken
to
8's
back
on
up
top as
Tekken
well.
a little bit, Tekken's huge over here. Like it's still
Yeah.
there's still Tekken ads on the side of buses all over where I live now, just because
Dude,
it's just everywhere.
yeah, it's the same in the Middle East. Whenever I go to Jordan, like pretty much every guy there just wants to play Tekken or FIFA.
Nice.
Best RPG role-playing game for all the weirdos out there who like these games. We got Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor Refantasio, and a little game called Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree. Going for the 2-peat! All right. We might as well start up the can of worms now.
This is the hard category.
I know. I unfortunately think Elden Ring wins this one.
Here's something I'll argue. I think it's possible Infinite Wealth may sneak it. That's more kind of hopium for me. I will say this: when I was voting, because I don't support DLC being in these categories like I didn't back last year when Phantom Liberty was in these categories. When I was voting this year, I was like, well, I did kind of like Elden Ring the most, so I did vote for it. So don't blame me. Okay, if it wins, don't say that it won by 0.1% or anything.
Yeah, this is tough.
You guys are quiet today. Jeez. Very.
I predict Elden Ring.
I heard you the first
I
time.
I originally thought Rebirth was going to win Game of the Year, but now that I don't, it could win this.
Whoa, chat.
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry.
That's between.
My faith for you has gone.
You know, I look at these and it's like kind of tough to decide what would. God damn, Erdtree still gets autocorrected to Nerdtree for me.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just picking Metaphor. I'm picking Metaphor just for
Okay.
the vibe.
Jack saying Metaphor.
I just feel like obviously, sorry, Elden Ring is not a RPG. It's an action game with RPG elements.
No, we're not doing this, Bob.
But-
you look at those stat screens and tell me that it's not an RPG.
But I'm just like, I don't. It's one of those things. I can't look at the category. I just gotta go Elden Ring.
Okay, you're also Shadow of the Erdtree. I don't know. This is actually probably the hardest category.
I think this is the hardest category.
Because I think this is one of the only categories where Elden Ring probably wins.
Oh, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, Rebirth and Metaphor are just going to split votes, and the people who want Elden Ring are just going to vote Elden Ring. They're not going to be split between that and like Dragon's Dogma. So
yeah, that kind of happened in 2019 for Game of the Year, where there was definitely a split between like Death Stranding and RE2 remake, and the winner turned out to be Sekiro.
yeah.
So I think split votes very possible. So wait, you're changing your answer?
No. It was always Elden Ring. I think I'm going to stay
Okay.
Elden Ring.
Yeah, I don't know. This is one that's like, I feel like it could go either way between any of these options. I think maybe they could try to give the shout out to Dragon Dogma 2 even. But I feel like the kind of conversation around that game died down very fast, like faster than I expected it to. I think it's probably going to go Metaphor, though. I think my thought process is that it's probably out of these the most of a traditional RPG. Infinite Wealth, I also think is that, but I just don't think there's enough people that played it.
Yeah, that was my thinking. Again, we can't read into the categories too much, but like Metaphor is like the RPG of RPGs in this category.
Yeah, that would be my pick if we were going based off what the actual category should be voted for.
Never think that way.
I know, exactly. That's the trap.
Best action adventure. This is a category that I
hate
feel
this
like
so much.
this is a funny one. Astrobot, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and Echoes of Wisdom. Okay,
Astro.
None of these games have anything in common with each other.
I gotta
Yeah,
be
they
real.
really
What is
don't.
how is Star Wars Outlaws here? That game, it got so many sevens, and people are like, "This is a Game of the Year candidate."
And the sad part is, it's like the one game there, yeah, that like feels like it would fit the mold of this category.
Actually, like that probably is why. Like they were like, "Oh, we already did best action. Let's do something that takes you on an adventure."
I mean,
Star Wars.
I think I can kind of see the reasoning for some of them. Like, I guess there's like action and puzzles in Silent Hill 2. I guess. Prince of Persia, you can't really have a Metroidvania category, so it fits here.
Yeah, Prince of Persia makes sense.
Echo, yeah, Zelda games are action adventures, but then Astrobot, like, I love you to death, Astro, but like,
Yeah,
that's a platformer.
is platforming considered puzzle solving? Like,
But I think still somehow Astro.
I'm going
wins.
Astrobot.
it's still
Yeah.
Astro. Yeah, that's the funny part about all of this.
I don't know. I could see Silent Hill sneaking in, but yeah, it's probably Astrobot. I'm with you guys.
You know what? Just for a different vote, I'm gonna say Lost Crown, just because I want to be unique.
Yeah, I want it to be Lost Crown, but I just don't see it being Astrobot.
I think the possibility of Lost Crown is like maybe people wanting to give it some type of win for the Game Awards. So they're like, okay, maybe we can give it the action adventure win.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. All right. So you say Prince of Persia, the Lost Crown. How do you? Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Moving into Best Action. Yeah, because there's two different genres. So I will say, Turbo Sean from Giant Bomb, he did say kind of a way to distinct action and action adventure is action is like Devil May Cry, action adventure is like Uncharted. Now saying that still doesn't help make sense why Astrobot is an action adventure. But I will say it kind of makes sense if you think of action as maybe a best combat category. They would just call it best combat then.
Yeah, I wish Geoff
wouldn't
would.
be here if that was the case.
Geoff can't change the categories. He's not on the voters committee. He likes to remind us. But the best action game candidates are Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, and Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. I
This one's hard.
could go to any of these, honestly.
I'm guessing Wukong.
Same.
I'm gonna go Black Ops.
I'm also going Wukong.
Damn, 3 Wukongs. I think Wukong will win an award, but I don't know if this is the category.
I think this is the award because I think people must really like Wukong if it was up for Game of the Year.
Yeah. We'll get to
Spoilers.
that.
Well, Stellar Blade, the one that I think makes the most sense here, but I
Yeah.
just don't think it's going to win.
Yeah, Celebrate. I'm glad it got nominated for something.
Warhammer, honestly, I've heard great things about Space Marine 2.
Awesome. It is a really fucking sick game. You'd love it, Bob. But
This is the one category where it could every single option could actually win.
100%. I mean, wait, Bob, you said Black Ops 6?
Yeah, I just think that people really love the multiplayer and the zombies and even the campaign to the point where but I could totally see Black Myth being like, okay, we're not going to vote this game of the year, so let's vote a best action game.
I think Black Ops 6, I think the thing is that Call of Duty games usually just don't win.
Yeah.
They only ever won audio design in the past. I don't think they usually win the big awards.
This is the first. Actually, let me go see real quick. Did they win in 2019? Because I feel like every time there's a reemergence of COD, they usually win stuff.
I'll say something different. I think it's Helldivers 2. Again, I just think I think that's kind of the dark horse sweeper of whatever category it's in. A lot of people were just very passionate about it when it came out. I think it's gonna sneakily grab a lot of these awards.
Yeah, 100%.
Call of Duty 2019 wasn't even.
It was.
Oh, no,
it was
it
nominated.
lost to Devil May Cry. Yeah.
It did lose Devil May Cry though.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Man, that
But
was
it did win Best Audio that year.
As per usual.
Yeah, no, it won
You know
Best Audio. You know
Wolf,
what it
I'm
was?
with you. I'm going to 40k.
Oh, you're going Warhammer?
Yeah, I've decided.
I
to
was going
switch.
Helldivers.
I'm gonna go Warhammer. Fuck it.
Oh, okay, that's funny. You said I'm with you, and then chose something different for me.
I didn't listen to your full conversation. I pulled the bench.
Oh, okay, good. It's okay. I'm used to it. I don't think any of you guys listen to me half the time.
I listen.
That's where you guys laugh and say, "Nah, that's not true, Wolf."
I listen. Dude.
You're so funny.
Sorry, what were you saying? I wasn't listening.
There we
Okay,
go.
cool. Best VR/AR. We got a VR correspondent here, so we actually have an expert. So that's why you have to go last, Bob. Arizona Sunshine remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadow, Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening. I will say, Fusion, I don't see you up in arms about Arizona Sunshine remake.
So true.
I don't think anyone's up in arms about that.
But it's a
To be
remake. I
honest.
thought you didn't support remakes.
Oh, I didn't.
It says remake. What do you
I
mean
know
you
I'm
didn't
reading
know?
it right now, and it still didn't hit with me. I guess I just don't care about this category, so you could put 5 remakes here, and I wouldn't complain.
Fair enough. I think it's definitely between Asgard's Wrath or Batman, though.
Yes, that's where I'm at. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Edgar Wrath 2 reviewed so well, but but people really like Batman.
Batman
I'm
kind
gonna-
of snuck in.
I'm
and
gonna go
there's that
Asgard's Wrath
argument.
too.
So benches Asgard's Wrath 2 after interrupting me.
I'll go.
What'd you say, Jet?
I'll go Batman.
Okay, so you're a Batman. I think Batman was one where like the reviews were like surprisingly high. Like I think a lot of
They
people
were
were
only
kinda caught off guard.
surprising because people are mad that the next Arkham game was VR. This was always hyped by the VR community.
Yeah, I remember at SGF when it was announced and everyone was like excited, and then this showed VR, and there was just an audible groan you could literally
Yeah.
hear.
And like no hate to Barrett Courtney from Kind of Funny because I know he's really into Arkham and I'm sure he wants like another like I guess traditional Arkham
Real.
game, but he was really upset and it's like, man, come on, at least give it a chance first.
Yeah, I think it's more upsetting because Suicide Squad, and also
For
like,
sure,
there's
for
nothing
sure.
on the horizon.
But like this was still always planned to be a good game and it turns out it was.
I'm going to Asgard's Wrath.
Okay, so Fusion's also Asgard's Wrath. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with the dark horse. I think it's gonna be Batman. I feel like it's gonna sneak away and kind of take this category unexpectedly. And then Bob.
Yeah, does that leave me? Okay, you're right. It is between Asgard's Wrath and Arkham Shadow.
Not Arizona Sunshine.
Arizona Sunshine is actually like a decent like pick, even though it's a remake. Metal Hellslinger is not in a good state right now from that release, and Metro I think also kind of got some like iffy reviews at launch. So those are literally name recognition picks. I'm honestly surprised Hitman also didn't get nominated just because it's name recognition. That being said, yeah, it's tough because I think Asgard's Wrath 2 got a lot of hype. It absolutely would have won last year in a landslide. But it came out in December, so that it got pushed back to this year, and it's definitely faded. Granted, no VR game's gonna like unless you're Half-Life Alyx, you're not gonna stay in the conversation for long. But I think it's like one of the highest rated VR games ever. It got a 10 out of 10 from IGN. But Batman has the name recognition, it has the familiarity. It's also very good. You do feel like Batman. And it's it is genuinely tough. I think more, and the other thing is, and I think this is what's going to determine it. Batman was a short game. For like, it was a shorter, more traditional VR. It's not like an hour. It's 10 to 15, but it is a shorter VR game. Asgard's Wrath 2 genuinely is like a 30 to 40 to even sometimes like 70, 80 hour RPG. It's a full RPG. It is no joke.
70 hours of VR.
Right, exactly. So I
What?
think I have to give it to Batman, but again, I don't know. I could see both. I think Batman though might just take it.
You can say both if you want.
No.
You'll get disqualified, but
Oh yeah, okay. I was like, no, what the hell? No,
All right,
I'll go Batman.
Okay, so me and you are for Batman, and everyone else is Asgard's Wrath too. All right. We still got a lot of categories left, so let's speed it up a bit, hopefully. Best mobile game: AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, Wuthering Waves, and Zenless Zone Zero. This is Balatro to lose. I'm going Balatro. Not even a debate.
I'm going Pocket.
Because you played it, didn't you? That's the reason.
Yeah, but I do think like a lot of people really like it.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem with TCG Pocket. I think it just came out too late. I feel like not enough people played it long enough, whereas Balatro was out for a while.
Sure, but I mean, who's gonna who from all over is gonna like vote for Pokemon or Balatro more?
Well, I'm saying, how much do you think?
Okay, so Fusion's also Pokemon TCG.
No, I'm going Balatro.
Oh, okay.
I
I
also
have to
think
record all the
Balatro-
scores, Fusion. You gotta.
I just think my reasoning is Balatro not going to win Game of the Year. It'll win this category. Or it's
I
going
just think it
I
wins
think it's
other
gonna
bigger
win.
categories.
I think it's gonna win a lot of other categories. I'll say
Yeah.
that. Jack, Bob, how about you guys?
I do genuinely think Pokemon TCG Pocket is a better mobile game because Balatro is landscape on mobile, and not that like that's like a crazy differentiator, but like I have pulled up TCG Pocket like one-handed, like doing something way more than I'm like sitting there holding my
One-handed?
screen sideways. Yeah, washing the dishes.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's the
And
only one-handed activity. All right.
exactly. And with Balatro, it's like, yeah, it's not. I wish they would have figured out a way to make a portrait. That being said, I still think it's Balatro because TCG it has a good start, but the content is already dried up, and people are waiting for the next expansion. Whereas like Balatro is a full ass game that you could spend as much time as you wanted. So I'm going Balatro.
Okay, Babatro, and then
Yes.
Jack.
Yeah, for the same reasons as Bob, really. I think Pokemon probably deserves it, and it does probably have way more mobile players, but everyone's just going to pick Balatro anyway because it's Balatro.
I'll say this about Pokemon. I don't really get why it got so I get why it's popular. I don't get why people are saying like it's like a top 10 of the year.
It's good, dude. Like it has its hooks in me.
Okay,
Like
but we played the same game. It wasn't that good, Bob. It's fine. It's fun.
I think they just have a really good like mechanic of like you don't have to put money into it. So if you want more cards, here are all the things you can do. And like granted, there are a lot of things you can do in the game. And like between battling and collecting and getting the new cards and wonder picking, like I don't know why it has its hooks in me so deep, but like that is one thing I have been turning on every single day and being like, all right, let's get the packs. Okay, let's do some battles, let's do some missions. Like it is genuinely impressive how much they've gotten me addicted.
Best debut indie game. We got Animal Well, Balatro, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and The Plucky Squire. I think it's mostly between Animal Well and Balatro. It is always funny seeing Plucky Squire in the categories. It's like I swear people were not into that game. I guess
They weren't.
I guess they had to think of another indie game, and they were like, "Oh, I guess this one came out."
And I'll also say Pacific Drive. I'm sorry, I've played that game. It is good. I like what they're doing. It is not like that good. 1,000 Times Resist definitely should have gotten in over Pacific Drive.
I think Balatro has this easily.
I think my thing is that
I'm going Animal Well.
we could definitely overthink it and go, well, if Balatro wins this, then Animal will win this. I think we see in certain years, a lot of critics don't vote that way. They just go, okay, what was the best one I played? And I think it's just Balatro.
I think it's Balatro too.
Okay, so me, Bench, and Bop are all Balatro. Jack, what about you?
I'll just go Balatro. It's safer.
Just go Balatro. See, everyone should just go Balatro. Like, sneak peek, I've been playing it for what we've been playing. It's like, God, that is like a 10 out of 10 video game. Like that
Turns out, good game.
Turns out, yeah, surprisingly enough. And then best independent game, we got Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and UFO 50. Again, I think same reasons. I think it's just gonna be a Balatro sweep. So that's just my vote again.
I will also go Balatro.
God, I wish Neva would win, but I'm going Balatro on this one.
Also, shouts out to Nine Souls because I feel like that should have been voted or that should have been nominated.
So we all say Balatro, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Fusion, do you think just not enough people played Neva?
I feel like Neva, would be pretty mainstream at this point. I mean, it's made by the Greece, the Greece devs, and I mean, like on OpenCritic, it has 89 critic reviews. Like, I mean, I feel like a lot of critics played the game. I just don't think. I think it's just doesn't have the replay value as these other games, and maybe not the fun factor because it is more of like a narrative, emotional game that I don't think is going to win. But like, it wouldn't shock me if it did win.
Mm-hmm.
I think Balatro. I think if Balatro wasn't on this list, I think it has the best chance to win, even over Animal Well.
Oh, interesting.
Do you think this
was it-
category gets announced in a montage like last year?
I
was
hope not,
Independent
dude.
in the montage, or
Yep.
was it debut?
It was Sea of Stars, and it just got pretty much ignored. Just got rushed over.
Oh yeah, because this was, and then debut they announced on the stage, and we're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's
Hey,
weird.
shout out UFO 50 because Bob told me he wouldn't be here, so he lied to me.
I really, again, I just like. I think it just depends on the people who played it, and I think critics played it because they're boomers, and it's definitely a boomer-ass game.
Hey man, you don't gotta sell me any more than that. I think it's silly though. I think, unironically, I feel like a console release probably would have helped it.
True.
It's
Same
so-
with Nine Souls. Honestly, Nine Souls only
Exactly.
being
why?
PC. I think if it came to consoles earlier, it would have gotten in.
It's like you guys don't deserve to win any awards because of that. Best community support. We got Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky. Okay, we need to put in. I really do genuinely believe this. I feel like we should put a rule that you can't win more than once. Because every fucking year we see Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. It's not that they're bad at community support. They're great at community support, but it's at a certain point where it's like they already won.
Whoa. But like 14 had, I think there's a argument to be made in a non-expansion year, and it didn't get nominated last year, but it had a new DLC this year. So I think
That's
it
not
should.
community support, is it?
Yeah, that has nothing to do with its
That's
community
ongoing.
support.
That is a best
And
community
that is
support's like
community support because they've already also released patches and stuff that add new content and are very good at harboring a
Yeah, but that's more so
Yeah,
just
but your
releasing
main
content.
example was they just put out a DLC.
I mean,
not
they
that
also had-
did something
they also-
great for the community.
They
If
also
that's the
had
case, I'm
4
gonna push that out of
different
the
fan
entry on here.
fests. They had 4 different worldwide fan fests where tons of fans gather and
Yeah, so did
celebrate
Fortnite.
the game.
Don't they do that every year?
Every game company does a fan fest.
Listen, I think you're all wrong.
It's more ramped up in expansion years. Although, like, listen, I'd vote for 14. I still think Baldur's Gate 3 wins.
I think my thing is Baldur's Gate 3 won last year, and I learned that it was like
I
surprising.
mean, we see how critics are for Baldur's Gate 3. I think it just wins again.
I mean, I could definitely see that. I think I voted for Baldur's Gate 3 actually. I wonder, do you guys think critics think about the? Oh well, we voted for it last year. It won last year, or is it just they don't think
Nope.
about it that way?
I don't think about it.
Yeah, and for that reason, I'm going No Man's Sky.
Dude, I hope, man. No Man's Sky
I
deserves
just,
it every year.
I feel like they announced a new game from that studio, and they're still pumping out content updates. It's like I feel like that alone, people would be like, "Oh
Free
shit, you
content
know
updates,
what?"
too.
Yeah, like, and they had like the PS5 Pro, one of the first people to have like a substantial PS5 Pro update from a third party. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be No Man's Sky.
What about you, Fusion?
gosh, dude. I'm stuck between Helldivers 2 and Baldur's Gate.
I mean, I'll say I think it's Helldivers 2, kind of for a lot of the same reasons. I feel like it just had a big story this year, and a lot of critics kind of just want to give it that. The only thing that kind of stops me from it winning is the whole like PSN fiasco.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is the PSN stuff, and like even for a few months there, it sounded like the game wasn't in a great state and was very unbalanced.
Yeah, it was in a rough state for a while.
Yeah, so gosh, but like, does it still have the sauce? I'm gonna go Baldur's Gate. I'll
Okay.
probably regret it, but
Going for the 2-time. I mean, they did do mod support. There was a lot of good patches, added a shit ton of endings. Like, it was a good year for Baldur's Gate 3 fans.
I think Cult of the Lamb was robbed. It added a sex update just because people asked for it. So,
Dude, yeah, what the
pretty
fuck?
incredible.
That's bullshit. They're cool.
No, for real, I'm just gonna pick Helldivers just because they won't even judge it by community support. They will just judge it by, oh look, it's Helldivers again.
Yeah.
Also, Hades 2. Shouldn't that be in here?
Early access, Bop. We got rules against that. Oh, wait,
I would
no, we
argue
don't.
this is the one category that should have early access.
Right? Yeah. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's crazy.
I know, it's so silly. I think, I mean, I don't know. Maybe Hades 2 wasn't big enough, but like, Hades wasn't really like talked about until it actually came out.
Yeah, but now Hades is out, so it's like people know what Hades and
Yeah, but I'd
Hades
also
2
argue
is.
it's kind of happening with Hades 2. I feel like people aren't talking about it nearly as much.
100%.
because
I
they're waiting
just
for the full release.
like I don't know. I just think about like community support and like updating it. Yeah, but it's a silly category.
Oh yeah, trust me. It's like the fact that there's a community support and an ongoing. It's like, okay, guys, you can like morph this into one. Because if you're gonna like skip over awards and like just say them in like in between the ads and stuff, at the very least, like just remove some of the awards so that you can actually get most of them on stage. That's kind of always my viewpoint. Best ongoing game, kind of the same thing, but I guess different. Destiny 2, which is always on here, and I know the Final Shape was this year, but they also had a shit ton of layoffs this year too. And a lot of Destiny community fans were really upset after those layoffs because of certain content updates. So I don't know how it always finds itself up here, but it's here again. Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2. Same reason as before. I think it's just going to go to Helldivers 2.
I think it's Helldivers too.
What has Helldivers 2 added though? That's my one pushback on how. Yeah, but I feel like there hasn't been like. I feel like we're still waiting for that big Helldivers 2 like expansion, and it just hasn't come.
It had a big content updates. There was like a what was it called? Like Freedom something.
Freedom Wars.
Oh, Escalation of Freedom. They had
It's a separate game, Fusion.
There was that big Escalation of Freedom update, and they recently have put in a really good spot. So maybe that's kind of what pushes it. Also, again, though, Fusion, I don't really overthink it. I think my thought process is, well, a lot of critics are just going to go, yeah, that was a good game. And I guess they've been going with it.
Yeah, Fusion, you see the definition is awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. And what Helldivers did to evolve the player experience is to not let certain people play the game anymore.
That was real as fuck. Come on, Bob. Some people are just not good enough to play the game.
And that's why my vote's Helldivers too. You got to respect their game.
You got to respect the hustle, dude. That is still crazy to me. Why is it PSN in the Philippines? What the fuck? How are you going to complain about, like, we don't have enough PSN signups, so they just say certain countries can't have it?
Silly.
I hate that company. Fusion Jack.
I'll just go Fortnite because why not?
Fortnite.
OG Fortnite.
I mean, Fortnite's been literally on this category every single year since it came out.
I'm going Destiny. Put me down for Destiny.
What?
Destiny?
Put me
I
down.
think
There's no way. There is no way.
Wasn't
I came back.
the expansion
That's all
like the
that matters.
highest?
Yeah, as high as it's ever been. I came back, bro.
You came back?
Yeah, I came back to Destiny 2 this year.
Did you play the expansion?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the expansion leading up to it.
Nice. Look at you.
That game's phenomenal. Like, that game's so good.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like, the shooting feels good.
Yeah, you're playing it right now, right? That's how good it is? Like, you're still playing it? Oh, interesting.
You're ongoing?
Yeah.
Are we any of us playing Helldivers 2 right now?
No.
It's still on my cross media bar.
Mm.
Because I put Keep in Home. I haven't played it in months, but still. Point still stands. Games for Impact, the woke game category. Closer the Distance, Indica, Neva, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, Tales of Kanzara Zao. I don't know if I can roulette wheel this one. I don't know.
Neva.
Yeah,
I'll
give me
trust
Neva.
Fusion.
Do you guys think Neva's gonna win?
I'm trusting
It's
Fusion.
Fusion?
This is the category where I'm going, I think the best game's going to win.
Why is Hellblade 2 here?
Because it's impactful.
I feel like I feel like that game should be here over like some of these other ones.
Yeah, it weirdly, this is the right category for it, but even then, the funniest thing about Hellblade 2 is that the story is worse and the messaging around like mental health is worse in this game, but than its predecessor.
What is the
messaging
pro-social
around mental health is awful. It is
Yeah.
awful in this game.
It's bad.
What is the pro-social message between Life is Strange Double Exposure?
I don't know, I haven't played it
It's
yet.
okay to be
I'll
a
let you
woman.
know though.
I don't
I'll
know.
let you know when I get there.
You'll let me know.
Yeah,
But
Jet and Moon are just yelling at their fucking screens right now, just trying to tell us.
Mood hasn't played it yet.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Okay, big
Yeah.
fan.
It's the Interstellar GIF where it's like, no,
He
stop.
got to 70 and he ran away.
I'm going Tales of Kanzara Zao.
Yeah, same here.
I think. I mean, I don't think this matters, but I think it might have an impact that like he came to the Game Awards last year and had like that big presentation, but also like it was a pretty like received game, obviously not as high as Neva, but then also he like weirdly, and again I think this is all anecdotal, but like it's just what's leaning me towards it. Like the game director has been catching a lot of flack from certain communities and like for the messages he was sending, and I think a lot of people like came to like defend and support him, and so
Dude, some of the stuff I saw, I'm like,
it was so stupid.
Get a job.
Yeah.
No,
No, that is their job because they get paid for engagement on Twitter, which is why it's so dumb.
God bless. I'm with you, Bup. I think it's Telsman Kanzera as well, just because I think the name, the cachet around it helps, as well as just like people genuinely really like that game.
I wouldn't be surprised if Neville won though.
Yeah. I think I'd be a
could see
little
Indica
surprised. I think
People
Neva
like
just isn't
Indica a
popular
lot.
enough. Oh yeah,
I've never heard of Indica.
Yeah, Indica. It was like earlier this year. I think.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I'm going to give it to Tales of Kenzera anyway, just because I think people like it more than any other game on this list. That's genuinely the only reason.
Yeah, probably. I look at the fucking. I think Indica might have one of the worst box arts of all time. Every time I look at it, I'm like, I don't know why you think I'm gonna play this game.
You've seen a McDonald's logo.
A what?
A McDonald's logo, like the golden arches.
Wait, hang on, let me go back. Oh, fuck you, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of see it. Innovation and accessibility: Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age the Veilguard, Prince of Persia, and Star Wars Outlaws. I'm going to go Prince of Persia. I think just people want to vote for it because they want Prince of Persia to win something. And also, there was some really cool... That screenshot system was actually really useful.
Oh, I think it's Dragon Age.
Can I pass on this category and just take a 0? Because I am not educated enough to have real...
No one is.
Yeah.
Like, outside of the people who, I heard they actually have people that actually do this category specifically, which is why I think it's weird they allow fan voting for it. Because it's like, what the fuck does Billy the Kid know about Dragon Age's accessibility?
He never even opened that menu, but sure.
I think I always open the menu to look for bigger subtitles. That's it.
I usually look for subtitles, and that's about it. That being said, I think I'm gonna go Black Ops here just because of like similar to like the audio design. I think they have way more accessibility options than people give it credit for, and that's one of the things that they were kind of pushing this year.
Fusion, how about you?
I think I'm gonna go Dragon Age. Dragon Age does have a decent amount of accessibility stuff.
And then Jack, here you actually passing? I mean, you
It's
might
not
as well
fair
say
if I pass.
something.
Just go Dragon Age, bro. It's gonna win.
I got Prince of Persia. Support the Persia.
Go Star Wars Outlaws. Fuck it, wild card.
I'll just go Call of Duty as well, because
Hell yeah.
maybe.
Honestly, it is kind of fucked up when you think about it that what's it called? Star Wars Outlaws, a game that people don't really like, got more nominations for this year than Nine Souls.
Yeah.
Whoa, I like Star Wars Outlaws. Come on.
Okay, well, 76 though, like that type of thing. I'm looking.
Hey, the new update
because
came
the
out.
reviewers
Starting it this weekend.
The reviewers have had time to play it by now, whereas they hadn't when they reviewed it.
Whose fault is that, Jack?
Ubisoft.
There you go. Best performance. This category sucks. This year they fucking failed. This ragtag group of individuals.
There's only one male on it.
I mean, there's some,
Okay,
there are
it's
some,
not that.
It's really good,
That's
boy.
wait,
I guess it's
wait.
weird you say this 1 year.
No. No, it's not that fusion. We have Brianna White from Rebirth, Hannah Tell from Life is Strange, a game that people don't like, Humberly Gonzalez from Star Wars Outlaws, a game that most people don't like, Luke Roberts from Silent Hill 2, based, and Melina Jurgens from Senua's Saga. A game that people don't like. Again, there we go.
Yeah, but
if their performance is good, that doesn't matter.
yeah, that has
but,
nothing
like,
to do with the game.
No, but like if you think about it, I feel like if you're gonna think, oh, my favorite performances are from games I like, though.
Well, my favorite performance probably is from Hellblade 2, and I don't like that video game.
Correct, me too.
Can I bitch that Metaphor isn't on here, because that deserved it more than any of these?
That seems Metaphor and
a lot of
1000
people
X
have been
Resist.
talking about that.
I've heard.
I'm surprised some Yakuza stuff isn't on here. I heard lots of good things.
Nah, because I wasn't gonna make it because there's enough of a split between sub and dub
That's
players.
true. I will say, like, Luke Roberts, Silent Hill 2, I haven't even beat Silent Hill 2. I'm not even halfway, but, like, whenever you sit back and are listening to a character speak, and it's kind of just shocking at how good it is, that's how I felt with James so far in Silent Hill 2. Although I do think Brianna White wins.
My personal vote would obviously go to Luke Roberts for that same reason. I think he's nailed it. My favorite thing is when he stomps on an enemy and you could just hear the desperation in his voice.
Yeah.
It's like, I loved stomping on enemies just for that. But I don't know. Winner-wise, I gotta be honest, Hannah Tell stands out like a stick. Like, really? I feel like there's a little bit of a bias against like actual voiceover performances versus mocap. I don't know if you guys think that.
100%. Yeah.
Oh,
Jack,
for sure.
how was the? Because I imagine Miss Gonzalez here is the voice of Kay for Star Wars Outlaws. Like,
Yeah.
do you have an opinion on that?
She was good in it. I didn't particularly like Kay as a character that much, but I mean, I can't fault her performance. She did exactly what she was meant to, I suppose.
Yeah, because I feel like that one sticks out to me where it's like I don't remember anyone saying this was a good performance. Like
It wasn't a bad performance either. It was a
right, it's just like should it be
feels-
nominated over other games that maybe had better ones?
Yeah, it feels like well, I mean, yeah, she didn't do bad, but like weird that that's the option.
Again, it just I feels like a recognition pick, but I was just curious what your opinion on it was.
God, Luke Roberts
I don't really have one.
so hot.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna go Melina Jurgens. I just think one,
I
it's
am as
crazy. It's crazy we got two misogynists voting for the only
What?
male on
Dude,
this
he's
list.
hot!
Whoa!
But besides that, I do think, like I said, I've been on account multiple times. Like Hellblade 2 is not a good game. However, Melina is the shining star there. She puts on a great performance. Yes, it's mocap based, but like it's still like the one thing that draws me into that game is her performance and just how good she is and how much time and effort she's put into it and like just like the facial expressions and everything that's going on. Yeah. Got me.
I
would agree.
I fully agree with Bob, but I'm gonna pick Aerith.
Yep.
Okay, so you're
Yeah, I agree, and I'm
Hold on,
with Bob.
Eris? Excuse me, that's not her name.
I said
Mm.
Aerith.
He said Aerith.
I heard an S in there. I didn't hear the TH.
It's the
That was
British,
just-
bro.
Yeah, that was just making funny for being
Mhm.
British. That's crazy.
Mhm.
But
Wasn't it
and-
Aerith on PS1 anyway?
Yeah, that was the
English.
English version was Eris, yeah.
And it's bad because about 8 months ago, I was on this podcast saying there's no way she would win for Hellblade. I literally think I said I
wanna
would be
go back on
shocked if
that?
she won Best Performer, but I'm still gonna pick her.
Okay, so you're also Melina Jurgens.
Yeah,
Honestly,
how you
I'm
pronounce
sur-
it?
Xbox must have
I think
paid
it's
you
Jurgens,
off.
so yeah. It's the only thing I know. Spoiler alert: Brianna White just won at the joystick. So I don't know if that like is gonna.
I'm gonna
matter
say
much,
it.
but
I'm gonna say that it helps it. I think I'm going
Yeah.
with Brianna White because of just popularity. And
Damn it,
I wouldn't be
Fusion.
surprised.
I was riding on that, no one knowing that.
The thing is also like with Rebirth is like I think any one of that cast could have been nominated because they were all so fantastic, which I think made it harder for one to stand out above the rest. That's kind of why I preferred
It-
Luke Roberts.
Did someone else sing
God, dude, look at
Promises to
Luke
Keep,
Roberts.
or
Yeah.
was that Brianna White?
It was not her.
See, that's the ironic part, because that's like the one part of Eris' performance in Final Fantasy Rebirth that I'm like, wow, that was really good and really stuck with me. I'm like, wait, that wasn't even the voice actor. That was someone completely different.
I mean, I think just all of those characters were expertly played, and
I
any of
agree.
them deserve any awards they would get.
moving into best audio design, which is usually the Call of Duty category. Actually, some real contenders though: Astrobot, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Senua Saga Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2. I feel like it can go any way. I think Senua Saga does have a big chance just because of the whole whispering thing. I don't know what it is. I haven't played it. But
Binaural audio.
Binaural audio, yeah. I feel like they want to give Silent Hill 2 an award, and that's by far and
Yep.
away the thing Silent Hill 2 does the best is audio design. So I'm gonna give it to that.
Same.
Yeah, this is
I'm
tough.
gonna pick Astra just because.
Yeah, no, Jack, I'm right there. I kind of felt like Astra had a big chance. because of the audio through the DualSense, and like they actually doing some really cool things there. The way that you interact with items and they actually makes noises. I don't want to come off as a hater at all. I want to point this out. I'm not a hater. Is Rebirth known for the audio?
Not audio design. It's known for its soundtrack.
Yeah, music, obviously, for sure. But like the audio design, is it like, oh, they nailed it? Or is it just like, I don't fine.
No, I genuinely think it's because people associate the soundtrack with audio design.
Is it sad that like I think my pick is Hellblade 2, so I guess I'm gonna lock that in. But like at the same time, I'm like, is Hellblade 2 really gonna walk out of here with 2 awards? It's crazy to me.
Forget that most people don't like it. It comes out with 2 awards.
Like but I think I'm on Hellblade 2 because the audio is the best part of that video game.
Okay, so Fusion's Hellblade 2. Hellblade 1 in 2017 too, as well.
Yeah, I just feel like they didn't hype it up as much in Hellblade 2 as much as they did in 1. It's still really good. It goes back to my theory that was wrong about best action game, but will be right here. I just feel like every time there's a resurgence, Black Ops wins the fucking audio design.
Black Ops 6 has insane audio, and they
it is really good.
They have like new 3D audio this year that they implemented.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Black Ops.
Oh, you're going Black Ops?
Yes.
Call of Duty category, just hoping.
Yeah,
I think
someone's got to do it.
You love Black Ops, huh?
Good game.
Yeah, I respect it. Best score / music. Honestly, one of the more stacked years for this category, if I do say so myself. Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor ReFantazio, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade.
How do you not give it to Rebirth?
You don't give it to Rebirth because Stellar Blade's OST, though. Come on. That OST's sick as hell.
It's great, but
it will be funny when Final Fantasy wins 2 years in a row.
I mean,
it won in 2020, right?
Yeah, it deserved it. The 16 deserved it just as much as.
Last year.
What won in what beat 16 last year? I forget.
16
no, 16 won.
Yeah.
No, 16 won. Oh no, I'm thinking. I'm thinking of the DICE Awards because Bob was hyping up the DICE Awards so much last year.
And Spider-Man won.
Spider-Man
did it win best? Did it best? Oh, I must have blocked that out.
You were so mad during the DICE Awards because Spider-Man 2 took so many categories.
Yeah, listen. Sometimes the thing you champion, you just gotta grin and bear it. But happy for Spider-Man 2.
The DICE Awards fans in the dirt, enjoy your Untitled Goose Game Awards. Anyways,
I'm gonna go Rebirth. I feel like anytime Final Fantasy is in a score category, they win.
Okay.
Deserved. Good
I'm biased here. I literally am 2 weeks out from seeing the Rebirth soundtrack in person, and it was so fucking cool. That was an awesome experience, Bench. I'm excited for you when you go see it. That being said, this is weird because like Astrobot, it has good Astrobot's.
Careful.
No. Astrobot and Stellar Blade, I feel like, are in 2 very similar categories where like it all kind of blended together. And Stellar Blade specifically reminded me so much of Nier that it's like I don't even attribute it with its own like game. Like I attribute it to a different game. I think Metaphor's kind of dark horse here, but I don't see how it's not Rebirth.
Is it weird that I don't think of the soundtrack on Silent Hill 2 at all? Is that like
okay? That's you're weird. Yeah, everyone loves that soundtrack.
I got no opinion.
I'm mad Neva's not here on this list.
What was that, Fusion?
I'm mad that Neva isn't on this list because that's my like personal soundtrack of the year.
Fusion, you felt nothing during the credits
of Silent Hill 2?
Yeah. The credits song?
Yeah, I felt a little bit, but like if you're going best score music and it's your credit song, like
it's not the only song. Okay, that's just the one that's memorable. Come on, there's a lot.
Just random question. I don't think this is going to affect the choice at all. How much original music is in Rebirth and Silent Hill 2?
A lot.
A lot.
Because
Silent Hill 2, I think mostly it's remixes.
Because the thing about Rebirth is that they added a lot of music for like the individual areas, and then they all have like battle themes and like walking themes, and like it
Right.
changes depending on what you're doing. And then on top of that, they like added on to like existing themes. It's not just like the same songs from. They obviously have the same songs from the original game, but they added a whole lot more.
So Jack, what are you going with?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm going with Rebirth.
Okay, so you're Rebirth as well. God damn it. Well, everyone with Rebirth. I don't know.
Be different, bro.
I want to be different, but I also do want to win. I think the weird boomers who still hold on to Final Fantasy nostalgia are going to vote Rebirth. So I think that's going to
Nostalgia.
Wow.
It's one of the best It's the best game soundtrack.
But yeah, that is the thing. Like Final Fantasy, like for all of its faults, it's like the one studio or just like I don't know franchise, I guess, that still gives a shit about soundtracks to the point where they are making these huge orchestral pieces, and it's like you just don't see that kind of effort in video game soundtracks anymore.
But think about Astrobot saying his
Yeah.
name 100 times.
Dog, you get when he's at the credits saying his name, it's like hell yeah, you are Astrobot.
I'll say
is
this
you,
about
dude.
Astro. I didn't appreciate Astro's soundtrack until I turned down the volume on my controller, just because of how many sound effects kind of blur
yeah,
out the music.
The sound effects were like I was like, what the fuck's going on in the soundtrack? Best art direction. We got the nominees: Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor Refantasio, and Neva. There you go, Fusion. You got something.
I think this is the Elden Ring award.
I don't know. I think this is actually the Wukong award. I feel like this is the one thing about Wukong that like even the detractors of Wukong at least said like, well, the art direction is incredible.
I just think Elden Ring's not going to win any of these next ones, so it's going to win this.
Okay, so you're a tree. Wait,
Dude,
what? I just said
Astrobot is weird to me.
It is
Astrobot's
weird.
to me
Oh
because
my
it's like
God.
animation, and the animations in that game are the best on this list. Sorry to
Easily.
every other game, but
Wait, you think it's weird because
He says it's deserved, unlike you, Bob.
no,
Mr. 8 out of 10.
I'm saying like I don't like the wording of technical achievement in artistic design and animation because I think Astrobot as itself has the best animation of every game here.
Oh, he's
gotcha?
I think I agree with you. There definitely should be a split here where it's like have an art direction category and an animation category.
Yeah, or something where it's like
Yeah, I'd probably
like-
agree with that.
so I don't know. And like to
Because
me,
my thing with it though is that like I don't think there's anything I'm trying like I
8
want to
out
point
of
out I
10.
liked Astrobot,
Yeah,
okay?
dude.
8 out of 10.
But like creatively, is it like the blueprint was already laid on Rescue Mission? Like we're not like exactly like doing anything out of the box outside of like I'll give it credit for the like the end of world levels. I think those are really creative, but like for the most part we're just kind of like doing the same like art style that we already did before.
Yeah, but also Erdtree's doing it literally
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
same
that's
art
fair.
style, so I don't think
That's
it
fair,
affects
yeah.
much.
That's fair.
Good art style, though.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I say all that, but like I'm gonna vote for Metaphor, even though it's got a very
Yeah,
Persona
see,
art
those are-
style.
the two I'm between is Metaphor and Neva.
I think the thing that drops Metaphor probably is that engine-wise, it is pretty much the same as P5's, and like that's one complaint I saw from a lot of people is that it is very, I guess, old-looking. Like it's like
Yeah.
you can tell it doesn't feel like a next-gen game. Like it feels like it's using a lot of just reusing models. Fusion
That
Jack, you're
UI.
the only ones.
Yeah,
That UI though. God damn.
I'm gonna live by the indie and die by the indie. Put me down for
Hell yeah.
Neva.
It's like your
I'm
guns.
conflicted because I'm thinking of Golden Joysticks and what won there. That
It
was
was Astrobot, right? Or was it? No,
no,
Wukong.
it was Black Myth
Wukong.
Wukong.
Yeah.
So
Wukong.
I'm just gonna stick with Metaphor because I think it'll be Metaphor.
All right, so this is actually one of our more varied
I was just saying
categories.
3 different games.
No, 4 different games
Oh,
actually.
4. Okay.
Yeah, Jack, Bob, if one of you want to change your answer to make it 5 different games, there you go. They're not doing that.
What's the one left standing? Astrobot.
Astrobot.
Hey Jack, you got it. Don't
sorry.
worry about it.
He says that as if he hates
I
Astrobot.
hope Astrobot wins.
I would kill for an Astrobot sweep.
Me too.
That's
Like
just-
in the back of my mind, I'm like, there's a world where Astrobot can truly just sweep, but we'll see.
I hope so, but I don't know. Best narrative: Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth, Metaphor: ReFantazio, Hellblade 2 again.
That's crazy.
and Silent Hill 2. I think this one I voted Silent Hill. But I can see. Okay, I was about to say I could see any one of these. I think it's really mostly about 3 games. I'm gonna go with Metaphor.
I'm gonna go with Rebirth.
I'm also going with Metaphor.
Yeah.
My thing with Rebirth is that a lot of people did not like the ending.
Yeah, that like Bench. I know that there is a lot of strong storytelling like elements, but it is also very like confusing, and people don't like that. Is like the one thing people complain about that I think is valid.
I
It's just like
disagree
the
with the
story is
complaints,
confusing.
though.
Yeah, but you're
Like
you're
one
not
person,
voting.
Bench.
You're
I
not voting
understand
on
that, but also like I think Metaphor has a dog shit narrative, so I can't vote for that.
Yeah, fair enough. I just
Years, weeks, months. I had to deal with this fucker
damn
whining
right.
about Metaphor.
yeah,
There's a pack on it.
Jack, back me up on this. Metaphor, the story
Jack
isn't
liked
great.
it, by the way. I want to point that out.
I agree with Bench. However, the people voting on this do not necessarily agree with us, so they might pick Metaphor.
yeah.
How did
that's
Astrobot not get in here, Fusion?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, dude. The narrative was great in that
Like,
game. I
during
was
the
crying.
ending, bro? Come on.
oh my god.
Bringing all your little buddies home, like it was great.
That was
Oh, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah, you're right. We should have spoiled that amazing narrative.
Please. Yeah, no, I think it's Metaphor because it's definitely not Hellblade. It's definitely I guess it could be Rebirth, but I just really don't think it's going to be Rebirth. I think Metaphor. That's the one thing I've heard is that the story's like good. I know it's controversial, but
Is it controversial? Because that's like 2 people versus.
I
like,
guess
most
it's
people who play the
controversial
game.
because it's controversial locally. But yeah, I feel like for the most part, it's not actually
Yeah.
that
I don't
controversial.
know. I'm listening to people talk about this Heisman guy and
Who
how
are these
he's the best character
people?
of the year, and I'm like, really? Really?
That's how I feel whenever you talk about how much Cloud is the coolest video game character. I'm sorry, bro.
Whoa.
I mean, like,
whoa.
dude, like, Jack, do you agree with me? Like, sometimes, like, Mike from
Well, this completely switched.
Giant Bomb will like go off on how Heisman is like the goat, and I'm like, I didn't feel that for any of the characters in Metaphor.
I just don't understand why the narrative of me coaching my alma mater to a national championship game in
Dude,
EA College
that's what
Football 24, like
Thinking!
that is the best narrative of the year. Like, why is that not here? Yeah, seriously. Dynasty continues to prove to have the best narratives of any game.
I think Silent Hill 2 is also a great pick. But I will say it's controversial because it is quite literally the exact same story. They added a couple endings, but it is the same story from 2001. Jack, do you have an answer?
Oh, I'm so conflicted.
I feel for you, Jack. You probably have to deal with the blunt force of Bench whining about the narrative of Metaphor.
No,
we find about it together.
Yeah, I don't like the narrative, but I love the world building. Does that count as narrative? I don't know.
Put that under that same category.
Yeah, I'd put it under narrative. It's just part of the storytelling.
Fuck it, I'm gonna go with Rebirth.
Rebirth, okay.
I like that.
I just think with Rebirth, the ending was very controversial with people. I don't even know what happens, but
Yeah, but I'm
Apparently
also
it's
cheating
controversial.
because I'm also referring to Golden Joysticks again.
oh my god, dude, Golden Joysticks is your Bible.
Hey, I had to
When-
sit through it.
These shows
I didn't
usually do have
to, but I
overlap, so
chose to.
if you're sitting through it, yeah, fair enough. But I will say, real quick, actually, we'll talk about Golden Joysticks later. Never mind. Best game direction, and I'm just gonna read out both game direction and game of the year because guess what? They're the exact same games.
What?
These
No.
categories don't fucking mean anything. Game direction: Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor: ReFantazio. And game of the year: Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor: ReFantazio.
Game
Yeah,
direction, I
this is
go
hard.
Astrobot.
I think Do you guys think it's a possibility? It's just the same game for both, like wins
I don't
both?
think so.
Yeah.
Not this year.
I think
In most years, I would agree. For some reason, I don't think that's the case this year.
I mean, last year it wasn't.
I think it depends on whatever what the year is. If it's like a close vote or like a sweep, like Last of Us did in 2020.
Yeah.
I
Oof.
don't think it's a sweep.
Yeah, game direction.
I don't think it's a sweep either. Yeah.
Game direction is a little weird to me because it's like, are we talking about? Like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth seems like the most directed game here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, I
As
agree.
as far as like
Yeah.
yes.
Like that seems like, oh, that's like this is the most directed game here. I could see that
But I
being like
think-
best game direction.
But I think the jury views this as the runner-up. That's all they view this category as. The runner-up to
Necessarily.
game of the year.
I've always argued that game direction should just be switched to game director and just specifically highlight the game director and like who's the director who carried out his vision the most, and like you can tell it's their vision. But that's not
Yeah,
happening.
stop.
Because they never fucking change the categories. It hasn't changed in like 8 years.
I'm gonna be a bit weird with this one. I'm gonna say Wukong wins best game direction and Astrobot wins game of the year.
Hey,
Oh,
respect.
Mm.
Yeah, I think Rebirth wins game of the year. Astrobot's game direction.
Okay, benches Rebirth for game of the year, and then game direction is Astrobot. Okay, game direction is the weird one. I'm just gonna say game of the year. This is me willing it into existence and praying. I want it to be Astrobot. I think it's gonna be Astrobot.
Also put me down for Astrobot Game of the Year.
I think Astrobot is still the highest rated game of the year.
It is.
Like, well, it's
Well.
tied. It's tied. I mean, okay.
I mean,
Do you guys-
depending on your source, if you're an open critic, it is.
Do you guys want to talk? Let's actually talk about it. Shadow of the Erd Tree. I think none of us are really fans of a DLC being nominated for Game of the Year, and it seems like most of the internet's on that as well.
Yeah, and I think it got in just because it like tied with someone. I don't think it was like one of the highest voted things. I think a select few critics that are wrong and should be scolded think that it should be Game of the Year, but I don't think many people actually voted for it. Because I think we see like a lot of critics coming out and saying the exact same thing. There are a couple like kind of funny who was wrong, but
I
I don't think
Let's
many
say they're
people-
wrong. I
And
understand.
also,
their
not all of
viewpoint.
Kind of Funny agree. Greg Miller thinks DLC should be there, but someone like Barrett and Blessing talk about how the DLC probably shouldn't be there. So
I mean, I'll say that like at one again, none of this matters. Like first and foremost, this is silly. Like we're just having fun. But also, I guess my thing is like I don't really like it, but I just does anyone here think it's gonna win? Like it has a chance of
no, I
winning?
don't. Binks is
I think
like
it has a
actually
chance.
terrified.
I think it has a chance.
Yeah, I mean
'Cause-
everything here has a chance. I just don't
Well,
know if it does.
it's
Yes or
just
no.
like my whole point to it all is like if you're not gonna put literally any rules or parameters on your nominations, like we've already seen in the past with Sifu getting nominated for best fighting game, David Dyer being nominated for best indie game, like the cracks are already there for Geoff to maybe add literally any parameters to this, and he refuses to, so that it's like you can't really argue for or against it because it's like there are no rules. Like we have definitions in the fucking what the categories are, and no one cares about that. Like no one actually votes for those definitions. It's like that's why I just can't get worked up to vote for or against like the DLC, because it's like until there are actual stipulations for how these are like voted on, except just vibes, it just means nothing to me.
I vote on everything based on vibes, bro. You should have seen my election ballot.
Actually, kind of based. I'm with you. Actually, now that I think about it.
No, I mean, okay. I will say, Bob, did either game Sifu or Dave win their categories? And I'm with
No.
you, by the way. I just want to make sure.
No, they didn't.
I get like 100%. I feel like I understand the viewpoint of like, well, we don't want to like kind of limit games like creative liberties and all that, but it just feels like it's like I feel like it would have been substantially easier to just create a new category and like
Well,
not cause all of this.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there needs to be, because again, and my other beef with like Game of the Year with Wukong is like it's the lowest rated game ever to be nominated for Game of the Year. And I'm not saying there needs to be like an open critic like requirement where it's like your game must be an 85 or higher to be like nominated. But I just feel like there needs to be literally any implementation of some sort of like parameters, because it just feels like it's gotten a little bit out of hand.
I will say with Wukong, my theory for why it got nominated, it may not have reviewed the best in like Western outlets, but internationally, I think it like reviewed extremely high. If I like remember correctly, like Japan and China especially, like a lot of the international markets are
Sure, but isn't OpenCritic just a reflection of did they not post that review on OpenCritic to make it a higher rated game? Like, I don't understand like why that wouldn't like.
No, what you're saying is fair, but I also, again, I'm just gonna say the obvious here that everyone always acts like it's a crazy like, oh, I'm gonna say something controversial. It's a popularity contest. Like most award shows are just popularity contests. It's like, I don't know, that just kind of made more sense. I will say Wukong is definitely the one that sticks out the sorest thumb here. And motherfuckers are trying to say Balatro sticks out. Y'all gotta play Balatro, okay?
Anyone who's saying that is exposing themselves, because it is a great game.
God, it's so good.
And honestly, I'm just gonna go out on a limb. Most unique here out of anything else. It is doing something completely different, and I think it deserves best game direction.
Skip those Astrobot credits, man.
Dude, the credits. Dude.
Yeah, I forgot Bop was like the biggest Astrobot hater known to man.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 is fucked.
Platinum the game, by the way.
Who needs best game direction though?
Probably like Fiverr someone to like platinum it for you.
Someone on Fiverr.
Yeah, it's on Fiverr. Yeah, don't look at my invoices.
So I just need game direction from Wolf, and Fusion, and Game of the Year from Bob. I think, I don't know, game direction means nothing, but like
I love the game direction category, honestly.
Again, well, okay, Fusion, would you say it's just better to just change it to game director then? Because like that's kind of the same thing.
I don't like when we narrow it down to one person at the studio.
Yeah, I agree,
but like that's
with that.
performance though. Best performance is just narrowed down to one person. If one person is that good at their job, I feel like it's fair to.
Well, that's like a lead in the movie, or like a lead in, I mean, that's just like. I think that's a little different. They're not a dev working on the game. They're reading the lines, obviously doing their part, but it's not like they're in there with the code and everything else. Half the time the director's probably not either.
I mean, I get what you mean. Sorry, Jack, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I like best game direction in theory. I just wish it was more like, what was the most innovative game that had released that year?
Yeah.
What was the most, like, what is the game that people are going to look back on throughout that year and say that was the
I wish it was better explained.
Released, even if it wasn't the best.
Because the description on the website is awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. And I feel like it's too big. Yeah, it feels like it's just kind of a word salad, and a lot of people are just like, oh, I guess runner up.
It's a category that like just sounds like they wanted to be the Oscars, and like they're copying Oscar categories, and like they're like, it doesn't make sense, but we're gonna put it here because we feel like we should have it here. Also, just real quick, going back to game director, I think the other reason I wouldn't want to go to that is because, like, again, no shots at Hideo Kojima, but I feel like if somehow Death Stranding is still a bad game, people are going to be like, but it's Hideo Kojima, he's the best director. Like, I feel like that would be be a detrimental name recognition category.
I think that's a more fair argument, because it's like, maybe if like Hideo Kojima makes Death Stranding and Metal Gear amazing games, but then makes Death Stranding 2, and, God forbid, Death Stranding 2 sucks or something. Well, it's like, well, Hideo Kojima is still the best game director there. So, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I don't know. I want it to be, I want something to change.
No, I'm with you. As far as game of the year, I think Black Myth, Wukong, and Erdtree are going to cancel. They're going to split votes. I think Rebirth and Fantasia are going to split votes. I don't think Balatro has enough, so therefore I'm going to go Astrobot.
Hell yeah.
D, I'm not a hater.
4 people for Astrobot. Man, Bench, you suck.
Yeah, look who's a hater now.
My thing on game direction is, if I believe in the Astrobot sweep, it's Astrobot. But if I don't believe in the Astrobot sweep, I think it's Rebirth. I think Rebirth would be the best, like, game for this category.
Yeah, I think I might go Rebirth.
So I'm
for
gonna
this
go
category,
Rebirth.
but-
Yeah, I'm going
yeah,
Rebirth.
same. I think I don't. Yeah,
And
a small
Astrobot
part of
sweeps,
me-
whatever. I'm just happy, honestly. So
hey, it works out for us either way if Astrobot sweeps every category. But that's everything.
There's
sorry.
one more category that isn't up yet, and that's players'
player's
voice.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Are we all?
Wukong.
Let's just do one
I
for
think
fun.
Wukong.
I don't think that should be.
yeah, it wouldn't count. I will say player's voice in 2022 was Genshin Impact, so
Oh
Pick
yeah.
category
okay,
I
lost
was like,
all
what's
meaning.
player's voice? But no, never mind.
it lost all
so Wukong.
meaning to me then. Yeah, Wukong wins easily. Just
Wukong.
it's the most popular.
I would also say Wukong.
I hope we get that right.
If it wasn't Wukong, I hope it's College Football 25 because enough Americans were like, "Fuck that! It should be up there."
Brother, enough.
It's not.
It's what we really.
Damn it! I was gonna make an election vote. I can't say that. Never mind.
Helldivers
Let's get-
2 what could be close, but
Helldivers 2 is a chance, but nah, it's Wukong. Just popularity wise. But that's the Game Awards. Big topic there, but hey, I had a lot of fun. You guys have fun predicting, or did I just do that for an hour just for you guys to
That
say
was
this
good.
sucks?
An hour 45. Holy shit!
yeah.
Is that an hour 45 of game?
Yeah.
Close to it.
Jesus, Bop. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Point at me. All right.
Moving into our next story. This is a pretty big story
Oh,
too,
yeah, I
honestly. Katakawa, From Software's parent company, might be sold to Sony. This comes from Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming. From Software's parent company, Katakawa, has confirmed Sony's intent to acquire the company. Following reports that Sony was in talks to acquire From Software's parent company, Katakawa has confirmed that Sony has expressed interest in acquiring the company. The update follows mass media reports which originated from Reuters that talks between the
Reuters.
companies were... Oh, Reuters. That talks between the companies were ongoing. Full statement reads, there are some articles on the acquisition of Katakawa Corporation by Sony Group Incorporated. However, this information is not announced by the company. The company has received an initial letter of intent to acquire the company's shares, but no decision has been made at this time. If there are any facts that should be announced in the future, we will make the announcement in a timely and appropriate manner. So, obviously, this was a very massive story. Because effectively, From Software, who is currently at the top of their game, the fact that there's a very big possibility that Sony straight up scoops them up is there. I will say though, I think a lot of people read a little too small scale into this. I think people are forgetting they're not acquiring From Software; they're acquiring Katakawa, which is a Japanese conglomerate that does a lot of anime, a lot of manga, a lot of they have video games, but that's not the majority of their business. It's video game wise, they have Spike Chunsoft, From Software, and Acquire, and I think one other. But they're very small stakes into the video game business, just kind of like loitering around there. So that's seems less of an intent to acquire that. More so, they want to acquire the anime side of that because Sony, if you don't know, has a very big monopoly on the anime industry, especially when it comes to streaming rights. And I think they really want to continue that monopoly going forward. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on this? If it's true, if it goes through?
I think it's true. I mean, I think it just matches up with what Sony as a whole wants, which is like the anime industry. And the fact that it's confirmed that they're looking for a buyer. And I think just Sony fits that so well. Well, I'm not sure if it would go through, or I don't know what the regulatory stuff is like in Japan, because I assume that they probably wouldn't have to like pass US stuff because it's like a fully Japanese company, which would mean like it could definitely go through. Like I don't think they'd get much of a fight or anything. But I'm just curious if it happens because yeah, Sony getting FromSoft is crazy, and Acquire, I mean, they just made Brothership a Nintendo exclusive, and I think it's overall just interesting. But I do think if it happens, I would assume more of like a Bungie thing where like they exist under Sony and not PlayStation. But I mean, they'd still get all the money from those sales. I'd assume Sony would PlayStation would publish that, like Bandai Namco would not publish those games anymore, which would be pretty crazy because Bandai Namco gets a lot of money out of that.
Yeah, they lost their share price went down following this announcement. And also, Benji mentioned, Katakawa is currently in the middle of a hostile takeover. A Korean company, I forget the name of them, but they've been like buying up a lot of stocks into Katakawa, and also Tencent's been kind of eyeing up Katakawa. And this is kind of a case of like, I'm really torn on this acquisition because like on the one hand, I don't want this to happen. I don't like, buying this type of game. But also, I'd probably rather have Sony own them than a random Korean or Tencent conglomerate type deal.
Yeah, and I also think keep going.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
I also think it's Sony being like, listen, we may have to like make some sacrifices to make this deal happen, but it's like if it's us or them, we're gonna make damn sure it's us.
Okay, Bench, don't act like Sony is the superhero trying to save Kadokawa.
No, but I'm talking about from their perspective, because there is like a relationship there.
I won't let you die, Kadokawa. I love you.
Yeah.
No, you're out of a movie, honestly.
Honestly, Fusion, what about you? How are you feeling about this whole thing?
Yeah, I remember. I think Bench might have been the first person to post this. I forget, but when it first broke and like I was on Discord, I said this would be fantastic for PlayStation, but bad for the industry because it's just
100%.
like it's not on the level as Activision. Obviously, it's not even close in a game centric idea. But yeah, on the anime side, which I don't know anything about, so I can't speak on that side. I'm sure, like you said, it would be a big monopoly. But yeah, but it's like in a just straight video game perspective, it would not be nearly as large as Bethesda or Activision or Blizzard or anything Xbox has gotten. But FromSoft is still maybe the number one third-party dev right now that everyone wants, like a piece of the pie of. Like they're the company that everyone wants. So like if PlayStation was able to be like, hey, we now own From Software, that is a gigantic thing to have on your first-party resume. Like you already have Bungie, which we saw how the Bungie thing went. It hasn't been that great, so you got to worry about that. But it's also like you have Bungie and FromSoft under you. You're turning into like you're already good, but you're finally turning into like you have places everywhere. Like PlayStation, the one thing they don't have is like I guess Horizon kind of does it with the RPG stuff, but we've always said PlayStation doesn't have like an RPG under them. Like a first party, they don't do the RPG stuff where like Xbox has a ton of RPGs, and like we've seen like they have like 4 coming out next year with Avowed and Fable and so on. So it's like I think from a PlayStation perspective, this makes the most sense, and I could see it 100% going through. But from an industry perspective, we're gonna probably unfortunately lose a lot of jobs because that's just what always happens when companies buy other companies. So like people are going to lose jobs, maybe less so since I know Japanese culture is a lot different than America, and like
they'll put them in the rooms.
Yeah, they seem to have better working culture, but I don't know. Like I can't completely confirm that.
Working culture wise, it's just that they have better like regulations from like creating layoffs.
Yeah.
Working culture is rough there.
I just say the actual work probably it's like horrible there, but the actual
I get what you mean.
Yeah, being on the streets, it seems like way more likely for American companies than like over there. So like maybe it'd be less layoffs than we think, but even then you're still gonna have people lose jobs or people moving to parts of the company they don't want to move to. But again, from a Sony perspective, and if you're someone who likes Sony exclusives and you're a fanboy, like this is right up your alley, and this is something you would love to see.
I mean, that's the question though, Fusion, and I'll ask this the whole panel. Is this going to lead to exclusive FromSoft games, or are they going to try to do a Bungie situation?
I think they would be exclusive. To at least console exclusive.
Elden Ring...
I'm not saying PC doesn't get them in.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Elden Ring really benefited from that PC launch, that's the thing.
I agree.
You'd have to imagine Sony's not that stupid.
I think if anything, it could lead to. I just don't like other than Bungie, PlayStation has never required someone to be like we're third party. Like that's just not how PlayStation works. With the acquire, like they just don't do that. And I understand like we're in a different landscape, but even then, PlayStation does not care about Xbox. I mean, just like plain and simple, they don't care. They've been neck on the throat for like a decade. We know all the like behind the scene third party stuff that have failed. Where like PlayStation, even just a month ago, we're talking about how PlayStation wanted to buy Crimson Desert out so it couldn't be on Xbox. And like we have that whole rumors about Wukong. Like PlayStation still doesn't want Xbox to get video games. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So like if PlayStation can be, if Herman Hulst is up there and he's like, yeah, we can make sure another FromSoft game doesn't touch an Xbox, they're going to do that. Now PC, that's a whole different market, and I think they'd be smart to put it on PC. There would be no reason for FromSoft games to not be on PC. There's a gigantic FromSoft fan base there. But putting it on PC and making it console exclusive is, I think, the route they would go. I don't think there's ever a route where FromSoft would continue to put games on Xbox, personally.
And also PSN account requirement probably would happen if they put on PC.
Yeah, you would have that.
And it's like, there we go again. I mean, Bob, Jack, any more extra thoughts on this whole, like, probably, I would imagine one of the bigger acquisitions, obviously outside of Microsoft's big ones.
Yeah, Jack, you want to go?
I was just gonna say, do we all think this is happening?
Yeah, I think it's
We
going
know
to
the talks are happening, but do we think it goes through?
I have hesitations.
I think
Me
it'll
too.
go through, but it'll go through way later than we think. I don't think it's going to go through, like, next month.
Yeah, I think this happens.
It's the money thing to me. If Sony has,
Yeah,
if the money is not an
They're
issue, it
broke as
100%.
fuck.
If
Yeah.
Sony has the money, it 100% goes through. It comes down to if Sony has the money. Like if Sony has the money, yes. If Sony doesn't have the money, obviously
also-
then they're not gonna.
That's the thing, though. Even if they don't have the money, they have, like, different workarounds around
I
it.
mean, yeah, they can take out loans and do stupid stuff that probably they shouldn't do. But
Yeah, that's kind of where my biggest takeaway was going to be, and this will tie back into the exclusives. They again, this is just Twitter math, so take it for a grain of salt. But Hoglaw, who is a mergers and acquisitions lawyer, who I would trust is like pretty on the nose as far as like what he's talking about. He was a great benefit during the Microsoft Activision acquisition for the same reasons, because he provided a lot of valuable insight. He estimates the acquisition would cost somewhere between 15 to 20 billion, and Sony only has about 12 billion cash on hand. So, and it's just a bad time in the economy to be taking out a loan compared to like 2 years ago, when the interest rates were a lot lower. Like they've just been creeping up just in general. It doesn't really matter that the yen's struggling; it's still interest rates are very high. But that is all to like. I still think it would probably go through because, like you said, they will find a way. I mean, they were trying to buy Paramount for 26 billion. Granted, they had a partner in that; it wasn't just them. But I do think the financial question is going to be arguably the biggest one, because like you guys all said, it makes the most sense both from an animation like anime side and from a video game side. There's a lot of synergy there. Now, the reason going into the exclusive conversation that I don't think they will be exclusive is because this, I think, would be pretty comparable to Microsoft buying Activision. The Sony investors, board of directors, whatever, are going to be like, you want us to deplete our cash reserves and take out a loan for this acquisition, and you don't want us to get like another $1 million on Xbox Y? Like, what do you mean? You already won the console war. You already have the market share. You're like, there's literally no reason to limit sales on other boxes just because of something that you used to be worried about, but the landscape's changing, and we already know sales of exclusives games just don't go as far, and it's like it's purely a money thing. And I think you just can't make a good argument anymore now that the console race is just not close, to be like, oh well, we should keep it off of it because it'll get more consoles. It's like you're already outselling them 1,000,000 to 1. You're like already you have the market share on sales. It's like, we need those extra millions of dollars. There's no reason not to keep it off of there. And I really hope they do the same thing with the PSN requirement, because it's like you cannot limit sales of one of the biggest third-party games that will release.
That's the thing, Bob. And as someone who has followed Sony for a long time, they are a very traditional Japanese company, and their thought process is, oh, that's the competition. We don't want to put our games on there. Yep. MLB The Show, they had to be forced by the MLB to put it on Xbox. That was a situation where they were literally forced to put it on Xbox because of a third-party organization. I think if you give Sony the keys to that, and like they have the full decision making, they're gonna go, no, we still don't want it on Xbox. Maybe they'll think about PC day and date. You probably still got to do the PSN account requirement because they're like, oh, we need more PSN accounts. We don't want other people. We just want the PSN accounts. Because Sony is an extremely fucking weird and arguably stupid company, and I don't get why they're the way they are.
Okay, Wolf, I have a question for you, the FromSoft guy.
That's Fusion.
Does Miyazaki stick around if his freedom is hampered?
He already has freedom. He still has freedom.
I mean,
you mean if like Sony like tries to like stop him from doing stuff?
Well, yeah, he doesn't have full control, because I could see maybe him.
Dude, 100%. If there was a situation where Miyazaki says, "I want to make this game," and Sony's like, "No, you're making this game," then he walks. because he could
Yeah,
easily
that's
just
what I'm
go
saying.
fund a new company. But
I
like,
don't think
buyout's
Sony would
so
do that,
large.
but I think
But-
the idea of that being possible might give him hesitation, and maybe they kind of try and strike an individual deal with From Software to either keep him or maybe they go like independent or something. I'm not sure.
so FromSoft, there is a possibility they could try to like break out of the deal by like trying to like buy out the remaining shares because they definitely have the capital most likely. Because Katakawa owns 70% of them. Maybe they could buy that 70% of shares and break out of it. But it's just one of those things where I'm just like, the thing is like, Sony, I don't think goes into this deal wanting FromSoft. I think they go into this deal wanting the anime and manga stuff. But like when it comes to the FromSoft part of the deal, they're like, oh, I guess that's an added benefit. And like maybe we could help that could help like PlayStation, that side of our business, but we're mostly in for Katakawa, like the wider organization. And also I want to point out like there's still other game companies, Spike, Chunsoft, and Acquire as well.
But isn't PlayStation like their biggest revenue driver for
Yeah.
their financials every year? So
That's true, but also anime and manga, Bob, are growing exponentially,
Yes.
like substantially so, to the point where like gaming is plateauing and anime and manga is growing. And if you're Sony, you're like, well, we should try to like get in the ground floor of anime and manga when it grows even more and more to the point that we effectively are like the one anime distributor. That's what they really want.
yeah, and trust me, I understand that. I'm not trying to downplay it,
Right,
but
I
it's
get
like
it.
I don't see how if you're Sony and you're like, oh, we can like add more revenue to like our biggest revenue driver as of right now. Yeah, anime will get there, but it's like, well, we still need to make money now, especially if we're going to spend all of this money on this deal. And that just again, going back to the like exclusive thing, Elder Scrolls and like Indiana Jones and all of these games were going to be exclusive, and then the deal went through and Microsoft's like, no, you spent this amount of money, we're taking over. I just don't see how the same exact thing happens to Sony where it's like, listen, you guys were able to get away with that with other studios because you're spending like smaller amounts of money. We are spending everything on this deal. We need to make that money back. We cannot be petty about this anymore. It is more about being financially able to operate a company. And I think that like not to say that you guys are wrong. I just think that's why I equate it so much to the Microsoft thing, because it's like no one expected Microsoft to shift as much as they did after the acquisition. But everyone's like, yeah, you spent $69 billion. I think in this similar scenario, you are spending a large portion of your like market cap and your reserve money and taking out probably financial assistance. Like you need to get that money back, and disallowing it on consoles for seemingly no reason when all it would do would impact your sales just doesn't make sense.
It really depends on like how much overhead Sony has on PlayStation, like at the moment, and like how independent is PlayStation to where they could basically make their own decisions. But also, that's the thing, Bob. I think Sony, like the Sony wider company, would support the exclusivity more so because they're a traditional company and they think, well, you wouldn't want to put our stuff on the competitors, even if they are a much smaller piece of the pie. It's just like I think I don't know. I get a lot of your points, Bob, about like Xbox, but I just think that Xbox and Sony are more different than we think.
Yeah, but
I
money's
think
money.
Yeah,
God
that's
bless
true.
them.
But I think a good example with the exclusives is like is Bungie in a way. We see Bungie where they were bought, but the deal was we would stay third party. And Marathon is still a third party game, and Destiny 2 obviously still gets expansions on both things. But now that we see PlayStation has more like Bungie is now just PlayStation at this point. We've seen it taken over. We've seen where it's like now Bungie has games in their portfolio that sounds like they're going to be exclusive. Like Bungie now has a studio under PlayStation, that action RPG, whatever they say they're making, that sounds like an exclusive game. Because now PlayStation just fully is taking over Bungie. So I feel like if PlayStation has full control over FromSoft from the very beginning and they don't have anything in contract to say, hey, we're going to stay third party, I see no reason why PlayStation wouldn't be like, no, we're just going to make exclusive and then also maybe have PC. Because again, yeah, say a million sales on Xbox is a lot for what, $70. So what's that math? $70 million bucks.
Yeah, I mean, like,
so
It's rough math,
like, yeah, but it's like also how many $500 consoles are you going to sell if FromSoftware is exclusive? If the next quote unquote Elden Ring 2 is only on PS5, thousands and thousands and thousands of $500 boxes are being sold.
I
There's
mean,
a lot of that going on.
thousands though versus millions on PC.
Well,
Yeah,
I think again, PC is not in question. I think these games will be on PC.
Okay,
Xbox is the question. And Xbox, if you're going away where it's like we can sell 100,000 more PS5s, or we could sell 1 million copies on Xbox, I feel like their PlayStation would rather just have 100,000 people in their ecosystem. That's more people buying games on the PlayStation Digital Store. That's more people being committed to now a PlayStation, having to go out and buy the next PlayStation because all their games are on PlayStation. It's not just about game sales on Xbox. It's about getting people in the PlayStation ecosystem.
But
And
that's
making
my
exclusives, bring them in.
that's my point though. They're already doing that. Like they're already getting everyone to the PlayStation ecosystem. You saw with College Football 25, people weren't buying Xboxes for that. They're already going to PlayStation. So it's like what you're already getting you're going to get those extra, especially with their marketing. You're already going to get those people anyway. Like I don't know why you would limit the money. And then to go back to the Bungie acquisition, that was what, $2 billion? Right?
3.6.
Yeah.
3.6 billion.
Like if it's what if the
I don't think it's going
numbers
to be
are
as much as that guy says, to be honest. But
yeah, I mean it's totally possible. I just think if you like it's a different financial it's a different financial situation if they buy Katakawa than if they buy from when they bought Bungie. So I just don't think that's it's like comparing the Bethesda acquisition to the Activision acquisition.
But
I
that
just
was-
think they're two
Xbox
different things.
was losing. They had to not stop the exclusives. PlayStation doesn't.
Right, but they also were like it was more of a Microsoft directive to be like, yeah, we lost, we need to make our money back. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily like it like
But
they're
FromSoft is so
thinking
small in this example that Sony's going to see all the money from all the anime coming in from this, that they're going to let PlayStation do what they want with From Software.
Yeah, and again, Sony does. It's a very traditional company. That they're not Microsoft. They're going to do completely different things than Microsoft.
Yeah, and
Xbox.
as far as we know, like Microsoft is way more hands-on with Xbox than Sony is with
Oh, yeah.
PlayStation.
100%. Sony's like kind of just lets PlayStation do whatever they want.
I think we're comparing like two drastically different companies, and one has stuck with their guns for 30 years and has only worked. So why change now?
I'll tell you this, Bob. If Sony had as much overhead on PlayStation as Microsoft does on Xbox, the Bungie deal would never have happened.
but Microsoft didn't have that they didn't have that overhead over Xbox until they started spending this amount of money.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though, Bob.
They
It's like,
were completely under the radar until Bethesda, and then it's like, oh, you guys are spending how much? So I think we're just
I
kind of
agree.
going in circles in here. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying it's gotta. I think something's going to change if you're spending this amount of money on an acquisition, because that's something they haven't done before. They've spent like either hundreds of millions or like low billions, but they haven't spent over $10 billion on an acquisition. It's hard to say like that's a lot of money. It's hard to be like, yeah, they're going to stay the same.
I think we will get the finality of like what we think is going to happen when we see that money, like what the money truly becomes at the end of the day. Jack, you were going to say something?
I think we're focusing too much on FromSoft here. I think that's the tiniest part of this acquisition.
100%.
This is a massive corporation that publishes films, it publishes books, it's comics. It's a massive company. And Sony, I don't think FromSoft is even on the radar, really. It's just a
Exactly.
bunch of this massive corporation. If Sony wanted to just buy it and keep FromSoft under a completely different branch, they could do that. They did that with Aniplex. They own Aniplex. Aniplex publishes games on Xbox. Like, no one even thinks about that because it's not Sony Interactive Entertainment. But Bungie was put under Sony Interactive Entertainment, which is why they can control where that game goes. When it comes to any other branch of the company, they can pick and choose what they do. So Sony could buy Kadokawa, put From Software under, say, fucking Sony Music for no particular reason, and just say,
Hell yeah.
yeah, you can publish. Or From Software could be its own branch. From Software publishes its own games in Japan. It could publish its own games worldwide if Sony just backed it and distributed it. So there is no.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I just don't think the From Software thing is that big of a deal in this. I think it's just this absolutely massive company that Sony can just pick and choose how it runs each little bit. PlayStation is just a tiny. I don't even think they're even considering whether they'll make FromSoft games exclusive.
And And I think a lot of people are forgetting it's like this is not like Sony Interactive Entertainment, like Jack said, it's not PlayStation acquiring Kadokawa. It's Sony acquiring Kadokawa, the wider Sony company acquiring Kadokawa. And I just feel like there is so much more to this deal than FromSoft, like you said, Jack.
Yeah, but we are a video game podcast, so.
Of course, man. Yeah, fuck movies, fuck anime. That's what I'm saying.
You're right.
saying,
You're right.
Moving-
In truth, I only wanted to bring up the Aniplex thing because I just think it's weird that
I know,
Sony has
you were
another
smart for that.
publisher branch.
No, I completely forgot about Aniplex.
I think at the end of the day, like you said, it does. We're not going to get any. We can't even get remotely close to answers until we see the number it costs to buy them. If
Or
it's
even if it
someplace-
goes through. I
Yeah,
mean,
or
there's still a
exactly,
chance
yeah.
this doesn't
Obviously.
happen.
Obviously, but if it's like if it's something where it's like, yeah, it's only $3 to $5 million, I could see the exclusive route. Maybe if it is near 20, as Bop's Twitter lawyer was saying or something.
Twitter lawyer. He's a respected lawyer, okay? He
Yeah,
has a great
I'm serious.
YouTube channel.
Like to 20, if it's 20 billion, yeah, maybe they were like, okay, we have to go a different route and put it on everything. But if it's like, so again, we're not gonna know. I just think at this point, both sides. I mean, PlayStation hasn't confirmed, but like I feel like we know they are in talks, and you usually don't get in these type of talks unless you're like serious about it. I feel like so I could see at the end of the year. By the end of the year, I could see something where it's like PlayStation fully or Sony PlayStation bought them. This isn't my
Can't wait
pick,
for
by
the
way.
article
Go get-
tomorrow
Go
saying
get
that
CD
Snappy bought
Projekt
them.
Red, bro.
Yeah, really imagine we're just like the next day they buy him. It's like, oh shit, this
This is gonna
episode's
be like
outdated.
Yeah, the Saudi
Um,
game groups just bought them. There we go.
No. I'll ask one last question. Bloodborne. What do we
What's
do?
that?
What's going on with Bloodborne if this goes through? Is this
You
still
get another
sitting
one.
there?
I think you get another one if this goes through.
I don't think so. I don't know. I
Or
wanna
at least a
believe.
remake. Something. You get Bloodborne related.
I want a patch Fusion. Like I don't
Yeah,
even care about a
you get
remake
60
anymore.
FPS, dude.
They won't
Finally.
even give us a patch because this company's stupid. Anyways, moving on. That's a story that we're definitely gonna have
All
to
right,
keep
last
looking at.
question. I'm sorry.
Oh,
to
go
cut
for
you
it.
off.
No, you're fine.
As the PlayStation fans here, so everyone but Bop,
Damn.
is this what you want PlayStation or Sony to do with their money? Specifically
No.
PlayStation. Obviously, it's not PlayStation making the deal, but like, is this what you would want from PlayStation to do, or is this like, no, you don't want them in on it?
I don't want them to buy.
I agree. I say no. I don't want them to do this.
No.
I don't want them to go for the big acquisitions. I don't really like big acquisitions. I think fostering and like supporting smaller devs and getting them into that first party fold, like maybe they acquire Shift Up later and do something like that. Like
Yeah,
that.
like I want them to go hard in Korea, or like their initiative programs are so good that I feel like they should
Yes.
just continue to do that. And if they're gonna go get someone, I'm still all in on CD Project Red. Like,
Ah,
go
my
get-
God.
go give
That's
me them.
bias.
It's not biased. You get GOG, you just get so much cool stuff for them.
I want them to get game science, bro. let's get Kratos and Black Myth Wukong. Wait, actually, hang on. I'm selling myself
You're
on this idea.
cooking.
This actually goes
I want them
crazy.
to stop shutting down the studios they already have.
Okay,
you're
we
asking
can't
too
all-
much.
So true,
we
Jack.
can all be perfect.
Okay, Bop, you speak up now. All right. Do I want to remind you what happened in May of 2024? Because I remember. It was my
Flashback.
birthday.
Happy
Okay.
birthday.
Oh, yeah, thank you. It was 6 months ago.
Happy birthday.
Golden Joysticks. We talk about the Game Awards a lot, but guys, there's another award show that is it's not just as big, but they try to be. Golden Joysticks Awards 2024. For some reason, this happens on November 21st. Happened yesterday, right? Did anyone actually watch it? I don't actually.
I watched it. I know Jack watched
did.
it.
How does that work?
Okay, so Jack and Fusion watched it.
Yep.
How was the actual show itself?
It was great. Ben Stepp was the host.
Yeah, I think the show. Like,
yeah, I saw
I think it was.
He mentioned Bloodborne. That's my goat.
Fusion brought this up because it was ridiculous. Every few seconds
Wait,
they
wait,
play
wait,
a
wait.
really random pop song, and it was really annoying.
Was it like a
Yeah.
British pop song?
No, I mean it was like Miley Cyrus. Like every time someone would accept an award, they would play like not even 7 seconds of a random pop song, like Miley Cyrus. I wouldn't be surprised if Pink was there. Like it was the most random pop song ever. Had nothing to do with the games. It would just hit for about 7 seconds after every award.
They
And
don't
I'm
even
why are we
play
doing
like
this?
the music from the games.
No,
That's
like it
crazy.
was like insane. I don't understand. I think for the most part, it was a good show. I thought it was very there was actually some trailers there, Bob. There was ads. There was games. There was new looks at games. They were
Yeah,
very
suck it,
quick. It
Bob.
wasn't even close as the Game Awards, but they were there.
Oh, so you can do both instead of just focus on one? That's crazy.
Yeah, but the trailers were actually so bad that no one cared. But
Yeah, Fusion.
Um,
Bob, I don't want to hear that from you when you see what Ultimate Game of the Year is. Hey.
but like, I think the awards were so fast. I don't know if Jack can agree to this, but it was like they would announce the award, very next award. Like it was like super fast for like, I guess that is more how the award show should work, but like it was just nonstop. Ben Star was up there announcing something.
Did everyone
some
give
new
an
award, some new
acceptance
award, some new
speech?
award? Yeah, everyone. They were short. Like I don't think they had a time limit. Just there wasn't just they would go up there and speak for a few moments and then just walk off. And the big gripe is there's too many nominations per category. I mean, Ultimate Game of the Year I think had 14 nominations.
Hang on. I have the Insider Gaming article from Mike Straw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wow.
13. Like, what are we doing,
Oh,
dude?
yeah.
13 nominations?
You're
I mean, we're
saying
gonna have 12.
Satisfactory. You're saying Satisfactory isn't as good as Balacho?
I'm not saying that. I'm just feeling like
It's not.
they went through they're like Balastro had a little thing for it. They just kept going. It was like 3 minutes long of announcing nominations. So I'm like, dude, I'm bored now.
I mean, we're gonna have our 12, and we're gonna go down them.
Are we still doing 12? I thought we were going back to 10.
We did 12
I was
last
still
year?
12.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did
12.
top 12. And it led to Cyber putting FF16 on his list, even though he didn't like it because he only played 12 games that year.
Oh,
Hell yes.
So that's why I was like, maybe we should make it top 10 then.
I think 12 just works better with ties.
Yeah.
You like top 12 because of the GG app, okay?
No,
I know
it also
that's
just
wrong.
works
I
better
mean,
with
that's
ties,
it
I'm
does
saying.
fit.
I will say, Bench, you were going to say something earlier.
You heard Ben
think I
Starr.
know.
You can't say Ben Starr's your GOAT because of last year. Like
Who, me?
you can't
What did I
you can't
do?
just like Bloodborne and you just turn around on him. That's not how it works.
I
But he's a
never
Bloodborne
hated
fan.
the person. I never hated the person. I always respected the person. I
He
think
was a
back
very
then,
good
Starr.
host. He was a
I
good
think
host.
Ben's. I will say this, and this is unironic and very serious. I did not know he was British. When he started
Okay,
talking,
anyway.
I was genuinely shocked.
That might be a skill issue there. I'm not sure.
The
That
British
honestly
are always
could've-
very good about hiding their accents.
Which tells me that they don't. The accent is they just put it on. That can't be how they talk normally. Jack, support me.
No comment.
I will say Black Myth Wukong won Ultimate Game of the Year. We were talking about Ultimate Game of the Year. It's like, God, we should call our Game of the Year Ultimate Game of the Year. That just goes hard.
What's like a more like what's a bigger word than ultimate?
Extraordinary. Extraordinary
Yeah,
game of the year.
extraordinary game of the year. I love that.
The
That actually goes
universal
hard
game of
as
the year.
fuck.
I will say, I guess Jack was the only one watch, so he would understand. But it was kind of they did for Game of the Year. They announced all their nominations, and then they announced the top 5 starting at 5, which is weird.
Yeah,
they
I like
counted
that.
down from 5, so it was like so they
I
started
liked
5.
it
I forget
until
what
they-
5 was, but once it was weird because I've never seen that because they runner ups and all that, and it's just obviously TGAs they just say the winner, but it was odd because it was like. Rebirth was second, and I'm like, oh, Rebirth second. Finally, Astrobot because it wasn't 3 through 5. I'm like, oh, Astrobot for sure. And then they say Black Myth Wukong. I was like, are we serious?
Yeah, that
And,
was the real.
Ultimate Game of the Year is completely fan voted. That's why. And it's like,
Yep.
that's what happens when you do fan voting.
What about transcendent game of the year?
I think Extraordinary still goes the hardest.
Extraordinary does go very hard.
I will say, I think I understand why Keighley explained this in the past. Why he doesn't like share like what the voter data is that he wants to avoid like situations of like attacking and aggressiveness around that type of stuff. Like if you were to know the exact numbers, obviously people like us we want to know the exact numbers because we're nerds about that shit. But I think that's fair enough. But I do think the top 5, no Astrobot's fucked up. Fusion. That is depressing.
Like it was pretty crazy.
I think Metaphor was in that top 5 as well.
Yeah, I think Metaphor was 5. Call of Duty was in it, or maybe I'm wrong, but I swear Call of Duty. No, Call of Duty was nominated, but
yeah, it was just nominated. But yeah, I don't know. Golden Joysticks, I don't really see it growing. The 42nd, we were talking about this before the podcast. They started in 1982, so it's like respect for them, like going as far far back as they do. But I just don't think it's a show that like anyone's like fiending for.
It's too early in the year.
I just
It's
like the
not marketed
categories.
well. Yeah, the categories were that like they did. I think we should point out some of the categories. I think Studio of the Year is a great category.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a few other ones in here, but like
Console
for one, I
game,
just point,
PC game.
Most Wanted game had 20 nominations. We sat through 20 nominations for Most Wanted game. Why? Like Atom Fall is in the same category against GTA 6. We knew it. Whatever.
Hey, Slay the Spire 2 made that list though. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so they had like Best Studio, which is awesome. Like Best Game Expansion, which we've been asking for TGAs for like 7 years.
Oh, this is cool. They have Best Indie Game self-published and then Best Indie Game.
I
And
love
Best
that
Early
because-
Access game. Like, how hard is it for us to just get these on to Geoff's show?
Best Game Expansion. Hey, look, 6 game expansions. Turns out there is enough in a year. By the way, I didn't point this out during TGAs. It pissed me off. Geoff always says this answer of like, well, you know, there's a lot this year, but what about next year? It's like, motherfucker, then get rid of the category next year. You can change them. I don't know. That annoys me. But sorry, Jack, you said something?
No, I was just gonna say I really, really like the best debut in best self-published indie game because best indie game always can get a little bit controversial with who's the actual publisher and whether people count it as an indie game because of that. But self-published, you can't really mix that up. It's the most indie an indie can get.
I think Plucky Squire benefited the most from that this year because it is an indie studio, but they had the publishing and marketing of Devolver, and I think that just like gave it so much recognition and like I guess like knowledge in the industry that like people just voted for it even though it didn't review that well.
They even do
exactly.
Best Game Trailer, dude. They do Best Game Trailer. I'm like, we made that up. I saw it.
Dude, game trailers. They
Stole
stole
our
our idea.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they have even Best Game Trailer, which I think is
That's
really
funny.
cool.
I will
We should
say,
steal some of these.
Some of these, I know what you mean about the amount of nominations, Fusion,
Dude, it's
because
insane.
best game adaptation, Halo Season 2 and Borderlands were nominated.
Like, why would they just add it?
Yeah,
My
that was
biggest
so
gripe,
funny.
other than Wukong, I'm sorry, Bench. I'm not trying to hate on Cloud at all. I love Cloud, but that voice actor is the most one-tone human in the
So
entire
good.
world when it comes to that game. I don't think he shows us ounce of emotion, and he won Best Performer. I'm like, how is that possible?
Yeah, I'm with you, Fusion. I don't, but like that's also like it is weird because
It's the
Cloud is
point.
that is the point, but it's like yeah, he's not supposed to win best voice
Yeah, he's not
actor. Like
at all. That feels like it would be like it feels like they wanted to be like best character or something, and they're just like, we'll just give it
and
to Cloud.
even then,
But
Cloud sucks as a character. That's kind of the whole point.
yeah, like that one was very odd to me. Where I'm like, Cloud, like I love Cloud. He's one of my favorite characters ever, and that dude only talks in the same tone the entire game.
Yeah,
It's
best
funny
Benja's
how
definitely
goes to
asleep
Cloud.
because you guys are like complaining so much about Cloud and Final Fantasy here, and he hasn't said a word. It's like, oh, he's asleep.
True.
I'm here.
Okay, he didn't disagree. I like that.
Silent
I,
anger.
I
though.
just don't gotta respond to the haters.
I'm not even hating. I love
He's
Cloud.
not even hating.
It is
Hey,
funny
yeah.
that like the best lead performer winner of the Golden Joysticks wasn't even nominated for the
Yeah,
Keighley's.
that's my point. Like, whatever. I think we definitely should steal some of these categories, and Geoff should steal some of these categories. Like, come on, like let's all work together and like make everything just better. It can't be
I
that
will say,
hard.
what category do we steal? Because I think we have most of these.
I do like best studio.
Best
Yeah, best
studio,
studio,
but-
probably.
Did you
Remember
have
when we
best
had best
studio?
multiplayer and only like 2 of us played multiplayer games that year?
Yeah.
I'd kick ass with best multiplayer this year though. I played so much more. Like 3 more. Next news story. Bop, get off the bench. This is your time. Cloud streaming beta is coming to PlayStation Portal in an update today, Shinobi has on Twitter. Over 120 PS5 games on the game catalog will be available for the PS Plus premium members at up to 1080p 60 FPS. Now, I don't know shit about this. I don't know shit about cloud streaming. It's not the way I want to play games, so I refrain from comment about this whole thing. I think Bop is the only one that does it. I don't know if you guys do it all.
Nope. I know what cloud gaming is. I would never use it a day in my life.
Okay, so Bop, this is you. Even though it's a PlayStation story, but hey, you know what?
dude.
Try
Put on
to be a
fake
little
smile.
nice.
I
Put on a
mean,
fake smile and talk.
So like when like the new version of iOS comes out and like Apple fans are like, look at this sick feature, and Android people are like, yeah, that's been on Android for the last 10 years. That's how I feel about this news article where it's like, hey, the cloud streaming device finally has cloud streaming. It's like, yeah, okay, like it should have been there at launch. Like, what do you mean it's just now getting it? But I mean, it's still good for the system because I do think now. So this officially means that you don't need a PS5 to buy a PlayStation Portable. You just need or Portal. You just need a PSN account, and then you can stream these games. So yeah, I mean, it is a good addition. It's just one of those things where it's like, how do you release like a streaming accessory and not have this at launch? But you know, they're finally doing what it's supposed to do. So good for them.
Yeah, well, it's not. It seems like it's mostly going to be like you can't play your catalog, just the PS Plus premium games.
Correct. So it's funny timing.
Games.
It is funny timing because I think Xbox finally just announced the ability to play any game or like most games you own. I mean, they go hand in hand. There's not much to talk about there. Like games you own, no matter whether you bought them. I think you had to buy them digitally. I don't know how it works if they are disc-based games, but you can play them on the cloud. Whereas before it was just like Game Pass games or like a catalog like PS Plus is. Maybe PlayStation will get there someday, and that's not like even a dig. It's just like those things take time. Like it's just PlayStation has always kind of been behind the ball on that stuff. But it is good that they're starting to add more of that accessibility for people.
You think this is a market they really should focus on though? Because I don't know if it's growing at the exponential rate that I think a lot of companies, especially like Xbox, were expecting it to.
Well, I think it's interesting with PlayStation because they're already like seemingly into the streaming service with like the PlayStation 3 like weird backwards compatibility stuff where you're already kind of streaming these games anyway, so you might as well give people more options to stream them. I agree, it's not, especially on like hardware like that, it's not really the best. Like like I don't think you're gonna get that much out of it, but like the Portal is selling very well, and I think a lot of it has, I think, ended up being a very popular product for PlayStation. Which, listen, I have my own thoughts about that, but I mean it's working, right? So it's like you might as well keep investing in that until it doesn't work.
That's fair. Moving into our next story, gonna go by these last two real quick. Final Fantasy XIV Mobile is revealed, licensed by Square Enix and developed by Lightspeed Studios. This game brings the vibrant world of your bench.
Eorzea.
Fuck you. That is not what it says.
It is that's exactly what it says. Eorzea.
No, what? That's how they pronounce it? Eorzea? Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Shout out to Eeyore.
Fusion, look at that word. You see it on the dock? Eorzea? Yep. Yeah, does that look like how it sounds?
Nope.
Thank you. Vibrant world of Eorzea to your mobile devices. And this reveal trailer, they talk about the game. Bench, you're the only one who played the game. Is this a thing that we should be paying attention to, or is this just another way to play FF14?
I think it's going to be big in not the United States. I think it's going to be big in Japan and Asian countries like Korea and China. And I think that's honestly what this is made for. They're just going to localize it all around. Because, I mean, like my 600 to 700 hours in FF14 won't carry over to mobile. It's a different thing. But so it's not
that's
for
the weird part.
It's not. I don't even think it's that weird, just because it's for a different audience. And there's so much content in 14 that it would be impossible for you to like just make that on mobile. But I mean, like graphically, I mean, it looks like 14. It's not like it's like a mobile port or anything. I mean, it's FF14 on mobile, and I think that's cool. It's just obviously the players currently are not the target audience, but I do think they're making it because they think there's an audience, and I think there's definitely an audience. Not in the United States, though.
Funniest thing is, when this dropped, Bink sent me a DM saying, "I know you're gonna play one of the greatest games of all time." I'm like, I don't think I've ever played a mobile phone game in my life, and this won't be the first one.
How much does he DM you every day about random stuff?
Yeah.
That's classified.
We yap it up.
We? Is it more of a like you, and then Fusion's just like, yep, I agree.
No, we chat.
We
That's
have our
cute.
chats, bro.
All right. Moving into our next story, also Final Fantasy related. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth won't have DLC, so Team can get Part 3 out as soon as possible. Warrior 64 has this. Quote, I understand it completely, but I think from my perspective, what the fans really want to see the most is not necessarily DLC. They want to see the third part of the series as quickly as possible. So that's why I've decided not to focus on the development resources of creating additional extra episodes for DLC at the moment. We really are putting all our efforts into getting the third game out as quickly as possible as we can. So for the moment, that's where we were focusing our time. Naoki Hamaguchi. Bench, a Rebirth story that you put in the news roundup finally made it.
Yep.
Behind the scenes for our viewers, Bench posts like 20 Rebirth stories every month, and I never put any of them. But now they made
Yeah.
it.
Also, I
'Cause
put that
Bob-
in there, actually, not him.
Yeah, I think
oh,
this.
wow, really?
Thanks
Yeah.
for the credit, dude.
Never mind, Fusion. All right, Fusion.
I think-
Bench, you guys still work for it.
Yeah, I think this is just this makes sense. It's what everyone wanted because, like, if you look at for remake, I mean, it was 4 years between remake and rebirth, and one of those years was spent on the Yuffie DLC. So I think it makes sense that we're kind of all guesstimating that we get rebirth in like 3.5 years, and they also want to do that, which is honestly super impressive for the game, the scale of these games. So I mean, it's what we all wanted to hear.
I mean, is that what Bob wanted to hear as the other
Yeah.
big Final Fantasy VII fan?
Yes, because I think I think at this point everyone wants the story finished. Like we need to just
Just get it
Yeah,
over with.
yeah, we need to get to part 3. Like we don't need to extend part 2 any. I think part 2 did exactly what it needed to do, and like, hey, let's finish this.
I'm very much with Bob. If this can, like, I doubt it, but if this is a situation where they, like we said, go from 4 years to 3 years, and we can get this next game, like, either PS6 launch title or at the very end of this game, at the very end of this gen, like, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm curious to sell that whole Yuffie Intergrade thing a lot more easily because it kind of came with the PS5 gen edition. So that was just like an easier sell for them. And this time they can't really utilize that unless they wait for PS6, which I doubt. So yeah.
Yeah, I
Makes
think this
sense.
is kind of like remaking it at like the last year of the PS5, and then we'll get that upgrade the next year.
Moving on to technically our last topic that Bob brought to my attention, because Matt only posts on Blue Sky now, so I always miss this. And it's like I get it, but I'm like, God damn it. The 20 best-selling games. We could go by real quick. What do you guys think is in the top 20 for October 2024? We always do this.
Call of Duty.
College football.
College football is number 11. And not even top 10. Fall off.
Call of Duty's got to be one, right? Or close.
Dragon Age.
Black Ops 6 is number 1. Dragon Age is 6. Honestly, that's way
Oh, there
lower
we
than I
go.
expected.
I felt like
And
that's
that's
higher
the
than
end
I
of the
expected.
year too, or end of the month.
It came out on the 31st.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's higher than I expected. Good for BioWare.
We'll talk about Dragon Age later.
Maybe not.
Fusion's like, bro, I'm trying to go home, man.
Life is Strange. Is that one?
Yeah, life is strange, Fusion, but what's your prediction?
What? Life is that game.
It's number 18.
Okay.
Life is
Silent
strange. Silent Hill is number 3. Wow, that is way higher than I
That
expected.
is way higher.
I'm very happy about that.
So we're missing a 2? We didn't.
Yeah,
we got a
you're
1
missing.
and a 3.
Number 2. Bob said it earlier today.
I was gonna say we already talked about it. It was the Sparking Zero.
Oh. Yeah.
Bob, I want to see if they actually listen.
Yeah, I
to it.
wouldn't have remembered. I probably would have got there.
You don't even know what number 4 is.
Yeah,
Mario
I'm gonna
Kart-
be honest. I have no idea.
You're not getting number 4. I'll tell you guys that right now.
Can you give me a
Yeah.
hint? Maybe it's an obscure game. I don't know.
I mean,
It's
yes.
published by PlayOn.
I'm out.
I mean, there's another obvious game you guys missed right now.
2K. NBA 2K.
2K. NBA 2K
Madden?
is
Yeah.
17. Madden is 8. Number
Mario
5 is an
Party.
obvious one. Mario Party is number 7. A bit lower than I
What?
expected, but also Nintendo doesn't count digital.
Metaphor.
Metaphor, yeah, number 5.
Okay.
Higher than. Oh, yeah, I had more. Below Silent Hill 2, though. That's actually surprising.
Astro.
Astrobot is number 15. 15 spots too low.
Okay. I was gonna say, at least it's
Let
still
the
in there.
fall off.
What else did you say, Bench?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I don't know. You make noises
He
sometimes.
said, "Wanna fall off" or something.
Yeah, so he did say something. He just lied to me.
Yeah, I think he just giggled. So,
See, but if I say it, I'm a hater.
Hey, you know what? You're not a hater to me, but
Thanks.
I feel like we're missing another 2020, like an October game.
there is one major
there is
October
one more.
game near the end of the month. A lot of
Near the end of
freaks
the
like this franchise. I'm saying that as a freak, by the way.
Maybe if you went golfing recently,
No.
Black. We said Black Ops.
I can't believe they still didn't get it after that, Wolf.
I'll be honest, I thought of Last of Us 2 when you said
Me
golfing.
too. That's really what I thought. I was like golfing. I really thought Last of Us.
Think really hard. It's a game. I expect you to get this game. I expect you to get this game.
Time is of the essence. Let's pick
Yeah,
up the pace
come
here.
on, let's speed it up.
You're the Brit that knows things.
Oh my lord, guys, he's the biggest rival to one of the biggest.
Sonic.
There you go. Which
There's a Sonic game in October. I don't. Oh,
Sonic X Shadow.
the Shadow one. That one.
God, Fusion is so out of the loop.
I was like, I forgot Sonic came out in October.
Yeah,
I
it was
feel
like near
an
the end of the
August
month.
game.
Sonic X Shadow Generations. I mean, the other ones, you guys are missing some sports games. The obvious stuff like Minecraft, Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, stuff like that.
GTA.
GTA is GTA on here? No, it's not.
I know.
Finally, there's been a few months where it wasn't
I
on
know.
there. I will say this.
Final Fantasy's on there.
Yeah, so two
Yeah.
really weird ones. Final Fantasy 1 through 6 bundle, I assume there was probably a big sale.
Yes.
They did the reprint, didn't they? They reprinted the really expensive
was
one. They
it
only
that
sold in
month?
the Square Store. I think it was right at the beginning of the month. I'm sure it was.
I thought they also did like a huge Steam sale.
Yeah, it's probably just both then. And then number 4, I don't know this game. Undisputed.
It's a boxing game.
Boxing.
It's like an indie boxing game, I think.
Yeah.
I have not heard of this
Yeah.
game at all.
I
But yeah, I don't know.
remember seeing that it was doing really well because it was on the European charts. But
Yeah, I'll say my two big takeaways from this is Silent Hill 2 at number 3, way better than I expected it to. So that's awesome. And that's actually my only takeaway. I don't know if you guys had any, but yeah.
I think Veilguard for 3 days on the list being number 6 is pretty
Yeah, that's
Good.
pretty cool.
I don't, because here's the thing, we say that every time, but it's like most of the sales are day one.
But like yeah, I know, but like even like outperforming Super Mario Party that had a lot more
because
in the
digital
month.
sales for Mario Party. Mario
Yeah, I guess
Party
that's-
probably sold better than everything on here.
Yeah, that's fair.
I get what you mean though, Bob. It's still very impressive.
Bioware hater.
I'm not a
Did you-
okay, maybe a little bit of a hater, but hey, you know what? It's a hater with love.
Anthem,
Stock-
still a good game.
I see. That's the opinion of yours that I will never respect, Fusion. You played that game and you were like, "This rocks." That's so
That
weird.
rocked. You know what else to say?
It did not rock. Whatever. Open Critic. We are reviews of the week. Only one really worth talking about, and that's Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl, running at a 77, kind of around what you would expect for kind of how the series usually reviews. It's a type of thing that reviews a bit lower for the critical standpoint because it's a very glitchy franchise, but then like fan-wise, people love it. From what I saw of the conversation, is fans are absolutely obsessed with the game. I actually have a news story that coincide with this. 1 million copies have been sold, even with the Game Pass deal with it. So it seems like a game that's very much selling well, and fans are absolutely loving it. But everything I saw is that the game is extremely buggy to the point of being effectively broken for some people. Any of you guys going to check this out?
No.
I do want to add some context real quick, though, around the reviews, because it sounds like because I know people who have put in a lot of hours so far, and I think a lot of the reviewers, it was obviously a lot more buggy pre-launch, and they had a lot of patches and even a day one patch. So they had like multiple patches leading up to the game. And from what I've heard from my friends playing it, they have not had as buggy of an experience, and they've discovered things that weren't talked about in reviews. So I think there is an element of this game wasn't exactly reviewed fairly, because I think there was a short review window. The patches came out. Granted, it's still the game's fault for being in such a buggy state during a review that they couldn't get to like play the whole game. But I do think it's getting a little bit too harsh of a critique from people who didn't like play it after the patches and play through the whole game.
Do you guys? This is an argument I kind of saw going around. And some people are kind of saying like, oh, it isn't fair to review the games for bugs and like glitches and stuff and like docket points because of the conditions that the game was made under. Any thoughts on that specifically? Because I always think of it as like reviewing a final product and not trying to put a scale.
No, I mean they have
I'm being careful around that. Okay, I respect the devs.
They have some type of leeway, but they don't have an 100% excuse to come out and make a buggy, broken mess.
Yeah,
I'll be the only one to say it. Like, and I'm not. Again, I'll try to say this with as much respect as I can to that situation over there. They've been out of Ukraine for a while, and I know that's still not a perfect situation. I'm sure they're working out of some place they've never worked in before, like for the last year and a half or however long they've been in their new office. But it's not like they're sitting there in Ukraine working on this game for the past 18 months. Like, again, it's still a very crappy situation, but like you can't use that entire situation as a why they didn't put out a well polished game. And it sounds like no Stalker game is well polished. So it's not like it's just this one time thing. It sounds like these games just don't come out and are very polished.
Yeah, I think no matter what, you have to review a game based on if it's playable or not. I mean, you just simply do. Like, it is a really unfortunate circumstance, but like we can't just like, because there will be a point where this game will be in a better state, and like this war isn't always gonna be there, and I just, that sets up a weird precedent where it's like now we have to limit all these factors, because like, let's face it, I don't think any workplace really has any great factors as far as like developing a game. And I think obviously they're not as extreme as this, but I do think there is a job on the reviewer to make sure that the review is all encompassing. That being said, I still think that if you're going to put out a review that is harshly critiquing how unpolished the game is, and then they fix your bugs before the game releases, and you still don't go back to that review and update it, that's disingenuous, because that is not the game that released. That is like, you do need to either heavily caveat it or like add context there, because I think that's misleading.
What did Xbox Era give it?
Probably a 10 out of 10.
Was it?
They're the only reviewer I really pay attention to, honestly.
8 or 9, I think. I forget.
That and this guy from the Slice of Gaming podcast, Jackie G. I think he's a great reviewer.
Oh, he's got the best takes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where the heck's the review on this page? They give it an 8.4.
8.4?
Which means they hated it.
Did the check not clear? What happened?
I hated that one.
I'm joking.
Give them credit. I think they're just taking the polish aspect of it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just joshing around. I don't really care.
Can I ask you real quick?
You're just joking wise. No, you're good.
Why doesn't Flight Simulator have reviews out? I feel like that should have.
No, I was going to bring this up. It is very weird that they did not have some sort of preview or review period for this game. And it's also weird because, like, did they just not like have the servers? We can talk about it real quick. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's also what I've been playing, but
I mean, we could just transition right into it. I mean, you've been playing Microsoft Flight Simulator. Just remember, Bob, we are 3 hours in.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm gonna keep this short. But it is weird because they launched this week. I think it was on Tuesday, and the servers were a nightmare. No one could log in. The people that could were experiencing a very poor performing game because you don't actually download the game to your system like you did in 2020. It's all being streamed from the cloud servers, and the cloud servers were not ready for that apparently, which is bizarre. I don't know if that has to do with why there was no review period, but for the most part, most of those concerns have been fixed. I only had issues on launch day. I've played every day since, and I've not had a single issue since. And even then, I was able to get in like that night. As far as the game goes, I'm going down the rabbit hole, fellas. I bought a new flight stick.
No.
I'm staying up way too late playing this game. It's really, really fun. It just they just nailed the gameplay loop. That's really what it is. They nailed an actual gameplay loop for their career mode. So you get your private license, and then you can either get your commercial license in airplanes or your commercial license in helicopters, or they call it rotorcrafts. And those skill trees are like 10 to 15 deep on each side and then like you get your license, and then your license gives you specifications, which gives you the ability to do specific missions. And then you do the specific missions, you get more money and experience that lets you unlock more specifications, which then lets you take more licenses, and then it just loops like that. So it's a very good gameplay loop. The controls itself are really good. I think it's an upgrade over 2020. And it's very optimized. I was really scared I wouldn't be able to run this game well. I am running it at near ultra settings, and I'm not even getting close to 60 frames. It's very well optimized. So I have nothing but good things to say about it.
Actually, is it quote unquote? Is it easier to run than like the 2020 game?
I think so. Yeah, I think they figured out some better optimizations for it.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I remember. Isn't it like the first flight simulator is like over 100 gigs?
It's like 200 I think it started at around 100,
and they are loading Earth.
Right, and like how they used to do it is like, okay, here is upgraded textures for Japan, and you would download that. And it's like a 30 gig download, and then I think they just got hurt too many people being like, I can't play this game because I don't have enough memory. Granted, that is a you problem, but I think to make it more accessible, they're like, we're going to stream it instead. And I think some people
what's causing the issues then.
Correct, and they just weren't ready for the server load, which is you should dock them for that. But like the negative Steam review bombing after one day, it's like, dude, come on! Like, what launch game doesn't have issues? And those people aren't going to update their reviews, and it's just like such a weird, like, I don't know. That part's just like a bit reactionary.
It was actually me and my ult, so I just went in the reviews and thought
Damn it.
Xbox game.
No!
After...
I just wish like I get it's a simulator, but I want like, hey, now you can crash the planes into buildings.
Oh, you can do that still.
Well, is there like destruction physics?
No, they don't model that yet.
That's probably for the best, actually. Now that I think about it.
here's how I can sell you on it, Wolf. Because what has been since you beat the game, what has been your favorite part of Astrobot?
Everything.
No, since you beat the game, like what has got you to go back to Astrobot?
I guess the speedrun levels.
Okay. So they have weekly challenges on flight. I know this isn't going to sell you on the game, but I think it is important to mention.
You're trying.
There's weekly challenges where it's like, okay, you have to, and there's a leaderboard. It's like you have to land this helicopter on the shipping platform in the middle of the ocean as precise as you can. And then there's one where it's like you have to take this fighter jet through a canyon, and you have to stay under this altitude, and you have to get through it as fast as you can. So there are like leaderboard challenges and like skill challenges where it's like, okay, like this is very much a video game element where it's like they're trying to gamify it.
I think my thing is though, Bob, is that those are like my least favorite missions in like a lot of games I play.
Yeah, 100%.
Or a Jack game or something. I'm like,
you still have to be vehicle coded, and clearly I am. I love Expeditions. I love Forza Horizon. So it's like that scratches. Like this is my Astrobot for for like leaderboard runs and whatever. But they are doing it, and like you don't have to go through career mode to do those other options. They have them on the main menu, so you can just hop in and go do like speed running challenges or like go fly a jet somewhere with like actual gamified mission objectives. But yeah, it's really good, and I'm going to be playing a lot of it.
That's exciting. I want to try it one of these days, but it is that 200 gigs. It's like okay. Though
No,
I
it's
think
only
it's
50.
Yeah, I know. It was the 200 gigs for the first
Oh,
one
yeah.
that prevented me from trying it. But hearing that
Yeah.
this one's only 50, no, it's only online though, right? If it's streamed.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, I can't play it then. That's immediately.
Yeah, you
I
do
don't
need
like
a good, consistent internet for it.
Oh no, I have a good internet. I don't support always online single player. I just can't play games like that. I don't like
Okay,
that.
fair enough.
Hey, you got to make a stand somewhere.
No, I get it. I think it's needed, but
I get what you mean. It's totally fair. Yeah. If I get over it, then yeah. You also played Black Ops 6. You want to talk about it real quick?
yeah, I beat the campaign.
Emphasis on quick.
That was yes,
I'm
very
kidding.
good campaign.
Take your time.
I do agree with like the praises that's like no, they're doing something different. Yeah, they really are doing something different. There is a lot of variety to those campaign levels. Multiplayer is very good. Zombies is very good. Good game.
That's awesome. I want to check it out. Get that a Game Pass for Indiana Jones. Check that out as well. And then is that all you've been playing, Bob, or did you also play Brothership?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about Brothership when Bench gets there.
Okay, fair enough. For me, Unicorn Overlord, still playing that. Not much to add. Still amazing. I did learn, Bob. I've been playing on the hardest difficulty at one point in the game, and I forgot to change. I changed it at one point. I don't remember changing it, and I'm like, man, this game is hard. It turns out I know why. But yeah, it's still great. And also, Balatro. I tried it out. After the nominations came out, I'm like, you know what? I gotta hear what people are saying. Put it on my computer. Oh god. It's a good fucking game. It is so addicting. It is like the perfect game to play when like you don't really want to like think really hard about playing a game. You just want to play like a fun, like goofy little roguelike. It's kind of the perfect like just pick up and play type game. It just has like I feel like it's like one of the best gameplay loops of the year, honestly. Just that feeling of like, okay, what kind of poker hands am I going to try to go for this run? And like every single one really works. And then you think about like, okay, multipliers and the chips and like all these different things to try to figure out like, how am I going to create my run this time? And sometimes you just get bad luck and you're kind of screwed. And then sometimes you get like insane luck and you're pretty much guaranteed a victory. And it's about how far you can take it and like how do you utilize your discards, like what hands you draw. I feel like it is like exactly what video games are. And that's why I'm so confused by all the people saying it shouldn't be nominated when it's like, guys, this is actually like probably the most deserving to be nominated because its gameplay loop is so perfect.
Yeah, and you haven't even gone to the higher stakes. Like when you like, I would seriously like try and have you challenge yourself and try and win at the gold stake, which I think, or the gold stakes, which is the highest for any particular deck. It's really hard. Like that game can get like, it's already kind of challenging, but then once you get familiar with it, you're like, okay, I can like reasonably get to the finish line pretty fast and you get momentum. Dude, some of those highest stakes, they really handicap you, and it's like, oh my god, I have to be perfect, and it really scratches that itch of like, all right, let's like buckle down and grind.
Yeah, right now I've been kind of focusing on like trying to get like the red deck, figure that out, blue deck, that type of stuff. I just finished a blue deck run. My first run was a yellow deck, so I'm like wanting to try out all the different decks, see how far I can go with all of them. But yeah, no, I'm excited to keep going. It's like a perfect. I just throw on like TV and just put it on. And it's like the perfect game to play because it's not like I need 100% focus on either thing. It's like, God, this is I love it. I think it's. But where do you think it's gonna land on like your top 10? Because I feel like it's like a top 5, honestly.
I don't think it falls out of the top 5. It's just it's so complex and diverse yet simple at the same time. That and like you said, it's that Hades thing of like one more run. It's like you get so close and you're like, nah, I got it next time. Like I got a plan. Like I figured something new out, right? It's like, oh, I gotta implement that into my strategy on the next one. You unlock a new Joker, and it's like, oh, I can do this. Like okay, and yeah, it's just a video game. And I will say, I have listened to that like song. It's one song. But there's like a 15-minute version of it on YouTube, and I'll
It's
just
a
put that.
vibe.
Dude, I'll put that on loop and worked. It's like lo-fi study music. It's so good.
It also never gets old. Like it's
No,
never like
it
the
does
song
not.
though, just like, oh, okay, I get it. At a time I'm gonna play on me. It's like, no, you know what? I kind of like having it on the background.
So good.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Moving into Dragon Age, the Woke Guard, as I put on the dock. Fusion's been playing it. I think that's it. Just Fusion's been playing it.
I've been playing it.
Fusion.
What?
Bench has also been playing it. You guys can-
sounded so defeated in the background. He said, "No, me."
Well, I have some beef about this game.
Go ahead, speak your
I have
truth.
some beef with the critics. How did this game like get the low score that it got, and not just like the hate it got? Because this is one of like the best games of the year. Like, what's going on with that?
You want me to have a
Because,
talk with them? I think
My-
they got pretty high scores.
I mean, yeah, I don't have an issue with the scores really. My issue is I'm shocked this wasn't like, I guess whatever best RPG was stacked this year, but like it couldn't even get a best RPG nod, or like Wukong was over it for Game of the Year. There's certain things where I'm like, I think this was just like, it really was super late. Like it was October 31st. Like I don't think everyone loved it, but the people who loved it seemed to really love it. And I feel like if it was a couple months ago, I think it would have got more nominations at least these award shows than it did.
Yeah, the cutoff was really rough for it. It was like the
Yeah.
31st of October, pretty much like right when the votes were coming in.
Well,
Yeah, so you can talk about the game now.
I was just saying, Binks, why,
I
why
can't
do you
really
disagree
steer the
with
conversation. I haven't
users,
played it.
I just think this
with
is
the critics?
one of the best games of the year. Like a lot of people saying, like it's the tone is weird, which I don't fully agree with, and the combat is like, I completely disagree. The combat's fantastic. Like I like the story and the characters that people have issues with, and just the choices. I mean, I made a big choice recently, and there were some pretty big effects. And getting to walk around and explore those effects is pretty cool.
How many hours in are you?
13 or 14.
You still
Best
don't have
games of
all.
the year, and he's like 13 hours.
No, I'm just like, he's that far in, and he still doesn't have all the companions.
I mean, I really like it. I'm having a great time whenever I play.
Let him beat the game first, then we get the actual opinion. We learned this the hard
No,
way.
I'm happy he's enjoying it because I didn't think he'd enjoy it this much, to be honest, and so I'm very happy he is because I think the game gets even better. It's one of those games where, like, as I'm playing it, I'm 43 hours in now. I'm pretty deep. I'm like probably in the last 10 to 15 hours of the game, so I'm super enjoying it.
Close.
Like it is in like my top 3 to 4ish right now, and I haven't rolled credits, and I've heard like the ending is the very best part of this game. So like I'm very excited to get there. But I told Binks before he started it, I said it would be in his top 3 of the year. I just said that kind of jokingly. I was like, yeah, this game's good. I said, but I think it will actually end up in his top 3, which is pretty cool. But it still seems like even in our group, Moon has jumped up on it a little bit. But even Moon, I'm not going to speak for him, but he seems lower than me and Binks, which is like kind of seems like the talk around this game as a whole. Like it seems like you either really like this game or you really are just not enjoying it that much. And I wonder, I think Baldur's Gate 3 had an effect. I really do. I think Baldur's Gate 3, and it's not even just Dragon Age, I think it will be every fantasy RPG after Baldur's Gate 3, had this effect where Baldur's Gate 3 was like that pinnacle, this is the greatest RPG of all time, choices, creativity, all that stuff from the industry and how it seems like users really love it. Where it's like Dragon Age, I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, but I've played other Larian games to know that like even Bioware has choices. I would bet it doesn't even reach 5% of the choices you make in Baldur's Gate 3, or it doesn't even have 5% of the companion choices and everything else. I would guarantee, because it's just not that type of game. It's more action RPG than a true like full-fledged RPG. I think the combat is the best part. of Dragon Age. I think the combat is very strong. I love the combat. It gives me similar vibes to Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, where it's like it's not exactly the same, but it's like you can slow down time, you can pause time, you can pull up your companion attacks, you can pull up your own attacks, or you can just go in there and hack and slash. Like it's a very similar Rebirth and Remake vibe, which I love that combat system. I don't think it's as good, but I think it takes things away from that. And I think the companions they bring around, for the most part, I really like the companions they bring to you. I don't think they're the best BioWare companions they've ever had. I don't think anyone even comes close to a Mass Effect companion. There's no Garrus, there's no Rex, there's no Liara, there's no Tally. There's no one like of that quality.
Tally was the last one you mentioned.
Well,
Damn.
Yeah,
there's no one.
that's crazy.
There's no one of that quality, I would say, but there's some that are like right a step below. Like there's no of like I don't think there's gonna be a time where it's like, oh, these are the best companions we've seen in the last 10 years. But I think they're all good enough and they'll have full-fledged companion arcs that you can complete and like do side, and they're some of the best in the game. I think there's a lot of talking. So if you're someone who doesn't like talking, there's multiple quests in this game where there's not a bit of combat, and it's you just getting to know this companion, which is why I love the Mass Effect game back in the day, because Mass Effect had a lot of that, where you would just like go on a coffee date or go on this with your companions in Mass Effect, where it's like you do that type of stuff in this game, which I really like because you're making these companions feel more real, and you're putting actual human thoughts behind them as just companions. So it's like this game has a lot of that. I think the one big thing is they have all that going for it, but the writing isn't great. It's not bad by any means. I would not sit here and say Dragon Age has bad writing. I would say it just has good writing. I would just say it's like not the greatest writing, not the worst writing. I think the overarching narrative is really good. I like the narrative being told, but the actual writing and dialogue and character choices, I've seen 50 other games probably do better, which is odd because I love Mass Effect writing. But from that perspective, it's not, like I said, it's not fantastic. It's not great. I wish there was more. It seems like someone made a good quote where it was like Disney's RPG, where like everything is overly happy and everything is like it's very hard to be mean in this game or bad or angry, and it's like that's fine. That's the vibe they were going for. But I do wish at times like I could be more of like I don't like this character, so I wish I could talk bad about them. But even the worst option is also just like complimenting them, backhanding. Like it's just not like. I mean, Binks, you might be able to speak on like what you think about the dialogue, but from my perspective, I think the dialogue could improve. I don't think it's bad, and I think there's some really good stuff. There's some lines that actually blew me away, but I think for the most part, it's this is goody two shoes, and it's not on the level of choice and creativity that I would like.
I think the only one that really stands out to me with like that is kind of Bellara, but then she whoops around and has one of the best lines in the game. So.
Well, I mainly talk about from Rook's perspective. I think you as the character.
Yeah, I think Rook, because I kind of go like the sarcasm route most of the time, and I think you're not Rook is a character, and you are guiding kind of their conversations, but it's not like Shepard, and I kind of got to come to understand that pretty quick. Because Rook, as itself, is a character in this world who has an objective they need to do, and you can't really shy away from that in a way maybe you could with Shepard.
But yeah, I'm excited. I failed because last time I was on the podcast, I said hopefully I beat it by the next time I was on it. To be honest, I didn't expect to be on the podcast this soon.
Well, you should have expected it. Game Awards season, come on.
I know, I didn't put it to it. But to be fair, I really am like probably in the last 10 hours. I think max level is 50. I just hit 45. I'm in chapter 11. I think there's 13 chapters. Like, unless the game is one of those situations where they throw 100 side quests at the very end, which it doesn't seem like it. Seems like the balance of side quests is actually really awesome, and the exploration, and like each chapter they flesh them out and you do them then and then you move on. I think I'm pretty close to like, oh, I'm gonna roll credits here soon.
Who did you pick?
Who did I pick?
Spoilers,
Oh, I still have they're still not. I'm this far in, and someone still hasn't been like the romance option yet. But I'm leaning towards Bellara. Like she's the one I want to romance in this game.
In real life too.
I mean, I'd be down.
Bob, did you have an interest in Dragon Age? I know you kept saying you were kind of like on the fence.
Yeah, and it's good to hear that the kind of the elements and that you guys are enjoying it. It's just gonna be a next year game, unfortunately.
Fair enough. I want to move into Brothership. Bob and Bench have been playing it. I mean, how is it? Because I keep hearing
It's good.
conflicting things about this stupid game.
I mean, it's good, not great, is I think the way to describe it. Like, I'm having a really fun time, and I put in like 30 minutes to an hour every time I pick it up, and then just hopping from island to island is fun. Like the loop of just exploration is fun. But I mean, like, it's just like I'm still early. I guess early. I'm 10 hours into what is apparently a 60-hour RPG. So, but I'm enjoying it. The side quests are fun. The characters are goofy. It's funny. It's like nothing mind blowing though. But I'll definitely see it through.
Bench, have you gone to the second lighthouse yet?
I am going there soon, or no? I'm Luigi just was
Oh, okay, you got time then. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so then you're not that far. You're probably like, I don't know, 3-ish, maybe less than that hours behind me.
I'm going to like the city.
Yeah, no, I know where you are. I think, yeah, as someone who has not played any of the Mario and Luigi games before, I really like this game. I think it's a different vibe than Paper Mario or Super Mario RPG, which is a good thing. I like how they can all feel different while all trying to be similar. I like that it's more of an RPG where it's like you level up and you're not exactly choosing your stats, but then like every 10 levels or so, you're choosing like a couple upgrades that can be specific, and like Mario and Luigi have different stats, so and like you can add different equipment to make their stats better, worse, etc., and then you can go find and make special equipment that have special effects. I really like the combat system. I think this is my favorite combat system of any of them between Paper Mario and Super Mario
I
RPG.
agree.
Like it's really good, and there's just a lot of good synergies. There's a lot of mechanics that just like make it really fun and engaging, both between actions and like parrying and like dodging enemy attacks. Like it's just very well fleshed out. But yeah, like Bench said, I think it's just good, not great. The story is fine. It's serviceable. It's keeping me going, but it's not anything crazy, and it's also not like charming. It's just the story. Like it's fine. And I think, yeah, even at this point, I'm like, how the fuck is there still like so much game left? And I think a lot of it is, and this has been brought up by reviews, which I think it is fair. There's just a lot of unnecessary backtracking, I think, that doesn't need to be there. I think they could have trimmed the fat on this game a little bit. But that all being said, it's still a pretty good game.
It's like 50 hours, right?
Yeah.
It depends. Like the guy at IGN said 35. I'm hearing anywhere between 35 to 50. I think anything over 50 is just you're taking your sweet ass time with it.
I mean, I'm doing all the side quests as well, so
Yeah, and even I've started to stop doing. I did all the side quests to start, but I'm only doing the time sensitive ones if it's with like characters I actually know, and if not, like I'm looking at the rewards, and if it's not like an actual item, like a gear, then I'm not doing them. And I think that's just I gotta like cut down because I'm like, yeah, I can't spend 50 hours on this. I want to try and get closer to that 35.
Did you guys say you were disappointed in this game? Were you expecting more out of this release? Because it seems like I feel like a lot of people were kind of feeling like this isn't the return they were expecting it to be. But also, I don't know. I haven't tried it yet.
no, I'm getting what I expected, which is a good fun game. That's a Mario RPG.
Yeah, I mean, again, I have I've never really dove into the series, so I would be curious to play one of the more beloved previous Mario and Luigi games, to, like really get an understanding. But like, I think it's doing exactly what it's supposed to. It's just not. I don't understand like the criticisms though compared to like a Thousand Year Door. Granted, I'm not like the biggest fan of Thousand Year Door, but it's like I think they're like I don't understand why that would get so much praise and this one doesn't. Like I think the comedy, there's still plenty of like comedic elements. I think it still has that same vibe. Like I don't understand what makes this one so much more, at least like review score wise, like what the discrepancy is, because I think this is a very like fun like Nintendo. It is a baby RPG, but it's still fun. Like I don't know. I don't necessarily get like why it's disappointing or kind of went under the radar.
Fair enough. I think that's all. I think this is a game that I maybe check out. Maybe around Switch too. They're just like, throw down a lot of the random Switch games I missed. But yeah, it seems like it's not the run out and buy it right now feeling.
No, definitely not.
And then finally, Jack, our one correspondent who played this game, someone who played a game that even Fusion won't play because he saw bad review scores and got scared off.
That never happened.
You're not a real Horizon fan.
I'm the only Horizon fan in this world.
Whoa.
In this Discord.
This world? You mean 20 million sales and no one
I'm the
likes
only one in
it?
this Discord who actually likes it.
Fusion,
Thank
you
you,
bought the remaster.
Yeah, for $10, just sitting on the PlayStation. What am I gonna
Fusion,
do?
that's nice. Can we please let the expert talk? I'd like to hear his
Okay.
opinions.
That's what I'm saying. And by the way, Fusion, I platinum both Horizon games. I like those games, okay? Anyways, the actual expert here, Jack, Lego Horizon. Tell me about it.
Is everyone ready for the second half of this podcast? Because I'm going to go deep here.
Let's go!
Okay, so I finished this game a few days ago. I'm not going for the platinum because you really have to grind for it. So, in truth, maybe I am a fake fan.
No. You're a realer fan than Fusion. At least that's over.
It's interesting. I think it's interesting in how uninteresting it is. Like a normal traditional Traveller's Tale Lego game, and absolutely not. It's not a collectathon. It's there's not much choice in who you play as. There's 4 playable characters, and that's kind of it. I think I can't remember who it was. I think it was Nintendo Shack, and they put it quite well. And they said it almost reminded them of the level design of Cult of the Lamb, in that you have your home base that you can sort of play around with and make pretty. You can just change like different themes, and the choices are kind of cool. Like you have the traditional Horizon ones, and then you can go to stuff like Lego City, something really random like that. There's like Lego Ninjago, and then there's like a theme park theme. So it is out there. It's really weird in what you can do, but you can just customize it how you like. Then the actual levels are, there's sort of like 4 in one of those biomes. There's like 3 main ones per level, 3 per biome, and then you sort of like go back and just redo sections, but on like harder difficulties. I think that's how it's working. It's kind of hard to tell because the level design isn't that interesting. It's they all kind of the same. They all kind of feel the same. You just go through them, and like I said, there's no collectibles, so you're just sort of going in a straight line, and then you kind of fight a boss, and then you go a bit further, and you fight like a load of enemies, and you go a bit further, and you finish a level. It's not very complicated.
Yeah. It
The
seems like
way
very
it looks
Lego
is
game style gameplay, right?
not even that. Like the combat is more of a focus here than a normal Lego game, but it's not particularly deep. It's like each character has their own method of attacking, and 2 of them are almost identical. You just stand back and shoot people, really. It is weird because there's like so many enemies, and it's always throwing enemies at you, and that is the main obstacle of the game. It's just more and more enemies. There's no real puzzles. There's no real exploration. It's just keep going forward, attack enemies, and carry on. And like I said, it's not particularly interesting. The way the game looks is phenomenal. Like everything is Lego. Like not even the Lego games do that, apart from maybe Lego City, which is a bit different. But just every single thing is Lego. Even the water is Lego. It's really cool. They obviously put a lot of attention into that, and yeah, credit to them for that. Other than that, there's not really that much to say. It's just interesting, like the fact it even happened, and the fact that they chose Horizon, and the fact that it's, I don't know, just so much about it is interesting, but the game itself is kind of uninteresting.
That's unfortunate.
I-
It
I-
seems
I
like
mean-
it seems like
Go
it's
on.
very much like as a Lego game, like yeah, you can do worse, but like Horizon made just like as an IP, this isn't on the quality level. Is that kind of what I'm reading from it?
It's not really on the. It's just different. It's so different to a normal
Mhm.
Lego game, and it's so different to a normal Horizon game. It's hard to really explain, but it just. I mean, I've played a lot of the Lego games, so like I know the formula, and it isn't this. It's just different. I don't really know what to compare it to. It's just. I mean, it's very simple. I don't know who I'd recommend it for. Maybe just her. Because like normal, I'd probably just recommend a normal Lego game over this one. So it's really hard to. But at the same time, I like the fact it exists. I like the fact that PlayStation is making a game for a family market, another one this year. So I can't criticize it for that, but I can't praise it for being anything more than it looks like.
Mhm.
Who made this one? It was Gorilla, right?
No, it was a
Guerrilla
company
oversaw
outside.
it,
Guerrilla was, yeah, they were kind of just
The
there.
studio is called Studio Gobo,
Yeah.
and I assume they did all the work really, and Guerrilla just kind of just said, "Yeah, that's cool."
Yeah, because TT isn't even making the Lego games anymore, right? So it wouldn't even be them if it was.
So they made Skywalker Saga, and then since then we've had sort of I assume that was like the last one where the Lego company was specifically just focused on TT, whereas now they've sort of branched out and 2K is making some, Epic Games is making the Lego Fortnite, but this one in particular, I just assumed it would be more like a TT one, and it definitely isn't.
Yeah, because that was kind of the vibe. And it's interesting, right? Because it's like, okay, it doesn't seem like this formula is, if that's what they were trying to go for, is easily replicable. I think the way someone described it to me is like trying to recommend this to a Lego fan, because he hadn't played Horizon, so he doesn't have context for that. But he's like trying to recommend this game to a Lego fan is like trying to recommend LaCroix to a soda fan. Like it's like, yeah, it's kinda like if you think about it, it's kind of soda, but it's really not. Which
Yeah,
LaCroix,
it's
I don't know
weird
if you know
because
what
it isn't.
LaCroix is, but LaCroix is like
Oh yeah,
soda water.
do you guys
Not
have
particularly.
LaCroix over there?
If we do, I haven't heard of it.
Okay,
Oh,
it's like a soda water that like doesn't, like a San Pellegrino that like with lemon in it, and they call it like a Sprite.
How many more
Fair
of our
enough.
jokes does Jack not understand? Now that I'm thinking about it, like our comparisons.
I don't know.
We don't
I
have
probably
enough
didn't
time.
understand them.
Yeah. Okay, that's a 3-hour podcast in and of itself. But yeah, no, I mean, I guess Jack, you kind of come out of it like, yeah, it's fine. Like I'm fine with playing through it, but like, you wouldn't necessarily recommend it to everyone.
Not full price. Like
Okay.
for a curiosity, you could probably do worse if it was
Look, I
like
was smart.
20.
No, I
But-
didn't buy it full price. Huh?
If you had to put a number on it, what number would you give it?
Like a 3 out of 5. It's just fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So
seems
a 6 out of 10. That makes sense.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, at least you bought it full price day one because you want to support the developers. You care about.
I
this
was
franchise, you wanna help them.
curious.
Yep,
I was
exactly.
curious, and I wanted to see. I just want Sony to make more games targeted at a different audience.
No, I respect that. Yeah. I think that's gonna do it, guys. Extra long podcast. I mean, listen, this is what happens when you put the two Bop and Fusion together in the same episode. But I had a great time. Obviously, we had a big topic with the Game Awards and everything. But I mean, hey, we're gonna cover that show. We're very excited for it. How you guys? I had a fun time. You guys had a fun time?
I
It
did.
was fun.
I had a
God,
great time.
I feel like a fucking teacher. Did you guys have a fun time too?
Raise your hand.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Wolf.
I appreciate you guys coming on and talking to me for 3 hours. But I think our audience is ready for us to get the hell out of here. So find us on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere, your favorite podcast places. Like the podcast and follow us on Twitter. Thank you so much for all your support, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Vote for Astrobot.
Astro
Flight Sim.